The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Wednesday edition of Running Points, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you alongside Mr. Royal himself, Anthony Hardwig, although I'm probably as guilty as you are because I'm wearing a royal blue
I like it. I told you when it came
shirt.
in. I mean, it's definitely one of our wonderful sponsors, which we love. But it's also royal blue, which I also love.
Yeah, I didn't really catch the whole color scheme. I probably should have. Otherwise, I would have sat back and said, I can't wear this today. The Indians are playing the Royals. Wealth Advisors is one of the sponsors, so WRS gave us some shirts. So we're dealing with one of the sponsors today, which is a cool thing.
Yeah, we always like to, we say it 1,000 times. Me and Ron are shameless. If you give us stuff, we'll wear it, no matter what it is on the air.
Well, except I do have standards. I will not wear New York Yankees stuff. That's just not going to happen.
What if it has one of our sponsors on it? Yes, you will.
I'm not wearing Yankee stuff.
If it's a Greenwood Chevrolet sponsored Yankee shirt, you're wearing it. Sorry, it's in your contract.
No.
Yep,
I can't wear anything Yankees. That's I draw the line at that. That Steelers or Tom Brady apparel I cannot wear. So that not happening. So what can I tell you? It's not happening. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. I know we got a lot of baseball and softball from last night in high school ball. By the way, I was in Poland doing the JV game between Poland and Jefferson. I had not been to Poland High School's baseball field in a while. Oh, man, that's a nice place.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful, beautiful place.
And their softball team plays a little bit down the street at North Elementary School, and it's one. It has a nice little press box. It's a nice softball place to play at too. So both teams with pretty good digs at Poland.
Yeah, Poland got a 5-inning victory over Jefferson. I was calling balls and strikes, trying to tell the catchers, hey, this is a couple of things you got to work on and whatnot. Telling the coaches. Obscure rules that they need to recognize. For instance, the rule that I don't particularly care for, but it is a rule, and as an umpire, you have to enforce this rule. And I don't care for the rule, but it doesn't matter what I think. On a drop third strike, when a batter is running up to first base, provided first base isn't occupied, when the batter is running up to first base, you have to be inside the first base line. At least 1 foot has to be on the line or inside the line in foul territory. Otherwise, you're going to get called out. It's an absurd rule because if you look, the base is in fair territory. So if you're running up the first base line in fair territory, you're making a direct beeline to the base. If you're running 1 foot or both feet on the other side of the line in foul territory, you have to do kind of like a miniature flag pattern in football to touch the base. So it doesn't make any sense to be in foul territory because you have to ultimately veer back into that fair territory to touch the base. But the rule is that you cannot have both feet in fair territory running up the first base line, or you'll get called out for runner's interference.
I don't get the point of it. Like, what are they trying? I mean,
well, the theory in it on a drop third strike is if the catcher drops the ball and he throws the ball to first base, he doesn't have a sight line. So he would have to step way the heck out in front of home plate and then throw the ball to first base.
but most drop third strikes are getting by the catcher, so he's got to run to the backstop anyway.
Yeah.
So you'd think if the batter's in foul territory, it'd be more in his way.
Thank you. It is a weird rule that I don't particularly care for, but you have to call it. So I told both coaches, because both teams were guilty of it yesterday. If you notice, about 40 feet up the line, there's a second line that runs parallel with the baseline. You're supposed to run in between the two lines. That's what you're supposed to do. But it doesn't make any sense, because if you're running up the line, straight up the line, you're going to miss the bag altogether. You got to somehow make a slight left-hand turn to touch the bag with your foot. So it doesn't make any sense, but you have to call it. Weird. Very, very weird. All right, I made mention of this yesterday. I want to get your opinion before we start talking local stuff. Major League Baseball told Atlanta, thanks but no thanks, you're not part of the All-Star Game festivities. And whether you agree with the Georgia law or not, whatever. My beef with this is they decided to put the All-Star Game in Colorado.
Which, I mean, like, were they next?
I don't know, but look, my argument is you're honoring Henry Aaron.
Well, we all thought it was going to go to L.A. because L.A. got moved.
Yeah, L.A. got screwed out of this whole thing.
So,
but if you're honoring Henry Aaron, there's 3 places, actually 2 major league places and 1 place that would actually make a whole lot of sense other than Atlanta. The second place is Milwaukee. He began his career in the Milwaukee Braves before they moved to Atlanta, and then ended his career with the Milwaukee Brewers. The third place is Kansas City, because Henry Aaron opened up his professional baseball career playing in the Negro Leagues, and the Negro League Museum is in
Kansas City.
Thank you very much. So those are the only 2 places that should have gotten the All-Star Game, but Rob Manfred, in his ignorance, decided to put the game in Colorado.
Obviously, his first thought wasn't, where's the best place to honor Henry Aaron?
Which, okay, I mean, that tells me that his sense of history in Major League Baseball is kaput.
His idea is obviously, hey, no matter where we honor him, we're going to honor him, so who cares where we do it? And, you know, that's kind of...
Yeah,
that screams Rob Manfred.
I just don't like people in authority that have no sense of history. I just don't. It's horrible. It's a horrible decision.
You know, why do you just start teaching us history instead of harping on the past all the time?
Well, I'm not harping on the past.
I know, it's a joke.
Yeah, I know.
Get it? Because, history is the past. Yeah.
I get it. We do have news that led to one of the ultimate dad jokes that you told off the air. My alma mater looks like they are going to be getting a new head basketball coach. Guy Costello is going to be recommended at the April board meeting for the head boys basketball job at Leetonia. This would not be his first rodeo at Leetonia. He is a teacher there. He had spent 12 years at Leetonia, including 4 as their head coach. So this would be the second go-around as the head basketball coach at Leetonia for Guy Costello. And it leads me to the ultimate dad joke.
I couldn't resist saying he's the right guy for the job. Couldn't resist it.
Yes, all right.
And then I was like, I'll let myself out.
Yeah, tip your waiters and waitresses on the way out.
But he's been around. I mean, he's also been 8 years at Jackson Milton, 5 years as the varsity assistant with the Salem Girls program. He coached at Struthers and Heartland Christian as well. So he's been around the block in the area, and now coming back home to where it all started.
Yeah, and he's teaching at Leetonia, so it kind of makes sense. It makes sense for the administration to get someone who is teaching, and let this be known. If you're a teacher in a school district, you have a better than average chance at getting a coaching position because they're the first people that are in line for the coaching position.
Most schools say teachers get first dibs.
Yes.
If you want it, then you get to interview before we go outside of the school district.
Now, if you don't have any experience, well, that kind
it's not like we're just going to hire you because you're a teacher.
Exactly. So Guy Costello, pending board approval, will be named the new head basketball coach at Leetonia. It'll be his second go-around as the head basketball coach at Leetonia. All right, plenty of baseball yesterday, and your alma mater is doing quite well for themselves, thank you very much, down in Myrtle.
They opened Myrtle Beach last night with a win, so the baseball team's 1-0 down there at the beach. Yesterday they beat North Bullitt, I believe.
That's out of Kentucky, Bullitt Central High School out of Kentucky, and they beat them 10-1.
Right, and Brandon Mikos pitched really well, and also last night Brandon Mikos announced that he was going to further his baseball career at Youngstown State. So a big day for the Mikos family. We want to wish him congratulations.
Yeah, it's a solid get for Dan Bertolini.
Right.
He's starting to develop a program that is filled with local kids, and why not? This area does have some pretty nice talent around it.
And that's the 3 players out of that South Range roster. Obviously, Gehring isn't playing, but still 3 players out of that roster that are going to Division I baseball.
Now, I hate to be the guy that doesn't that is hoping not to put a wet blanket on anyone. Is Ohio State going to still honor the scholarship, even though Gehring has the injury that is going to leave him out for the rest of the year?
I don't know.
I would hope so.
I would imagine they would evaluate and make sure that he can still do it.
Yeah.
Because the reality is coaches are coaching for their lives.
Sure. Sure.
So they'll probably evaluate, make sure that he comes back. But nowadays, with the technology, most people come back from Tommy John surgery just fine. So
no, absolutely, it's just going to be a process where he's
they'll probably redshirt him.
Yeah, that would be the best move, and get him to work very slowly and work yourself back into it, and we'll see in 2023 with 4 years of eligibility left.
The last thing you want to do is bring him back too soon.
Absolutely.
So there's nothing wrong with taking the red shirt freshman year and then being a red shirt freshman in 2023.
Yeah, one could say that Jamison Tyone may have come back a little too early, and then he had his second Tommy John surgery. And, when you get into 2 Tommy John surgeries, now you're getting into some really deep water, and you don't want that. So hopefully he comes back better than ever and rip-roaring and ready to go for Ohio State. Trey Pancake, who's headed to Ohio State, he homered yesterday.
Right, he's got the bat, he's got the thunderstick. So,
yeah. And he picked up 2 RBI in the game yesterday as well. So it's a good win for South Range. They're off to a 3-0 start, and even without Jake Gehring, they're going to be a threat in Division III.
And Canfield still going strong.
Oh, jeez.
As they just blanked Firestone.
Yeah, they're a really good baseball team. This just in. Austintown Fitch is also a really good baseball team. They shut out Elyria. Jake Lawrence with a 1-hitter, punched out 10. The Falcons are 5-0. They're good. When Austintown Fitch and Canfield play each other, that is going to be must-see.
Marquee matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be must-see. I'll tell you another team. We've been talking about this team, and they've been under the radar for the most part, but one cannot deny them now. Did you see what West Branch did to Ursuline?
Yeah. I was across the way doing their softball game, but I heard all the cheers, and Richie Giuliano had a great call for that game, and he texted me after and just said, West Branch is for real.
Yeah.
And they are. I mean, they can pitch really well. They shut down Ursuline's offense, who's really struggling right now. They're 2-4, and they haven't really been able to score. But they shut them down, and they scored 10 runs themselves.
Yeah, Nick Wilson with 4 hits in the victory for West Branch last night as they pick up their 5th win in 6 games. That's a solid win. And then you have Salem, who is also for real. They didn't score off of Mr. Bruni, but Mr. Bruni was taken out of the game after 5 innings, and lo and behold, the Quakers scored 2 runs in the 6th inning, and Alliance, unfortunately, every so often, pitchers get this really bad luck. Gavin Bruni is getting this bad luck. Nobody's scoring or the Alliance isn't scoring any runs when Bruni is pitching. And he takes the loss again, as one of those, actually both of those runs were off of him. He left after the first 2 guys got on base in the 6th inning, and they both scored when they brought in the relief pitcher. So Salem picks up a victory over Alliance 2-1. Quakers are 5-1, 3-0 in the EBC. This could be fun when they and West Branch get together and play baseball.
Another 1-run loss for Alliance. They've had a lot of those already this year. And like you said, he's just not getting run support. I mean, you'll hold the team to 2 runs. You win most of the time. But Alliance is having a lot of trouble hitting the ball, and that'll hurt you.
Another game that caught my eye, Crestview is undefeated in the EOAC gray tier,
right,
the MVAC gray tier. They pick up their 3rd win in the league. Sam Campbell, he's a junior. He struck out 11 in the 4-1 victory over Liberty.
That's Campbell. Good.
Dad jokes. You've got some today.
I'm feeling good. The weather's out. I'm feeling a little spunky.
Yeah. You were throwing the ball. You were throwing the ball around pretty good when we were hanging out doing some show prep.
I was flicking the ball pretty good.
Yeah,
too.
you were flicking the ball.
Starting to really get the hang of finger football.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so Crestview gets a victory over Liberty 4-1 yesterday. The Crestview softball team picked up a 21-0 win over Liberty. McKenna Schultz. What did she get? 3 more hits yesterday, and 3 more RBIs. Crestview is a pretty solid softball team.
And I'll be broadcasting Crestview's game tomorrow night. I'm excited to see the young team. They're starting to really find their groove after struggling a bit early. They took a punch in the mouth from Howland in one of their first games of the year, but they're starting to really find their groove. Like I said, a young roster. And I'm excited to see what they have in store tomorrow night.
Yeah, my girls from Latonia picked up a victory. They beat Southern yesterday, 12-2. Haley Brock, 6 strikeouts, although she did issue 7 walks, but only 1 hit allowed. Latonia picks up a win over Southern, 12-2 in 5 innings. They get Columbiana today, a little step up in class, if you will. Because Columbiana's good.
Columbiana's pretty dang good. I mean, Tori Long's having a great year at the plate and pitching. So you have a lot of pretty good players in Columbiana. That's a heck of a roster, and it's a heck of a team to try to beat.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business.
How about this? I just got a text from Coach Seidel. From Sebring. He said, according to today's Alliance review, Bruni has allowed no hits in 10 innings of league play, and he has been taken 2 no decisions. So he still hasn't allowed a hit in 10 innings of league play, but he hasn't been able to get a win on the mound.
Yeah, he could sue for lack of support and probably win right now. And isn't it funny that most aces, and we'll find this out this afternoon, given the fact that the Indians' offense hasn't played very well, where Shane Bieber may wind up pitching a really good game, but might not get a decision because the offense isn't there. Now, having said that, let me throw a couple of things out that I believe, and it's a very small. A very small sample size, but I believe that the Indians' offense is going to be okay. For example, in the 5 games that they have now, 4 games, I'm sorry, in the 4 games they have now played, in the 3 games that they have lost and have struggled to score, all 3 of those games, the game time temperature was below 50 degrees. Now, Why would that be important? Well, let's run through the lineup here. Cesar Hernandez at second base. Andres Jimenez at short. Jose Ramirez
I see what you're doing.
at third base. You have the left fielder and the center fielder are both Hispanic. Perez is Hispanic. What is the one thing Hispanic players are very well known to get off to early in the season, especially if you're playing in the North?
Slow starts.
Slow starts. And why would that be, sir?
Because they're so used to a warm climate that the cold weather,
It's
no bueno.
They don't hit in cold weather. It's Hispanic kids don't hit well in cold weather. The one thing that I'm impressed with.
You got to think that would go away after a couple of years in the league. Like, you get used to it and be able to make adjustments.
Well, if they lived in the cold weather year round, I would probably agree with you. But you got to be out of your mind to live in to live in cold weather year round. That would be horrible.
You got to be un poco loco.
Yeah, un poco loco is true. Si, senor. The other thing that's impressed me to this point, do you realize the Indians lead the American League in fewest strikeouts? And that tells me they're hitting the ball. And they're putting the bat on the ball. And a lot of these kids have hit the ball really hard. It's just at someone. I think the Indians' offense will do well.
Well, in the ninth, they hit it right at Carlos Santana. That could have been a tie game.
Yeah.
Carlos Santana makes a great play at first base.
Yeah, well, he's known to do that a few times. So I love the ovation the Indians
he
fans
got
gave
a great welcoming from not just the crowd, but he had a good moment with Terry Francona as well, and he deserved it. He had a great career with Cleveland.
Yeah, he sure did.
And now he gets to smack around a little bit.
And I think that Carlos will do quite well in Kansas City.
He's already teaching our hitters that it's okay to take walks.
Well, absolutely.
Like, we've been free swinging for years, and all of a sudden we're like, hey, we can take a walk every now and then. It's okay.
If he can get Jorge Soler to not be a free swinger, that kid is a superstar in making.
And Salvador Perez also taking some walks will be big for that offense.
Yeah.
And he already starting to take some walks this year.
Agreed. So I'm going to make a prediction here because the weather in Cleveland is glorious, and its game time temperature is going to be somewhere in the 60s or near
Cleveland
70 degrees.
It's always like 10 degrees colder in Cleveland because you're on the lake.
Yeah. I believe the Indians' offense gets it in gear today because the weather's warmer. I think they score a minimum 5 runs.
Both ones are going.
Yeah.
So if they get 5 runs for Bieber, it's going to be a more likely win than not.
I would hope.
So
I would hope.
You better do it against the Kansas City starters, though, because their bullpen's pretty good.
No, that's true. And it'll be fun to watch. The final game of this series, I don't know why they're playing just a 2-game series with Kansas City. That's weird. They take another day off tomorrow, and then Detroit comes into town for the weekend, and it's weird.
I don't like it. It's like I'm getting. Oh man, I'm so excited to watch a baseball game. Then you're off next. It's like I'm not getting to the groove of a baseball season.
Yeah,
and you're hurting me.
Yeah, I'm fine with a 3-game series. Give me 54 3-game series, and there's your 162 games.
You know what I'm happy about? It's on ESPN today, so Anthony gets to watch. Screw you, Bally Sports.
Hold on a second. So are you telling me that I'm going to be watching Zoned Out Anthony? Where
at 2:00, absolutely.
Let's see, when Brian Tolnar comes
he'll be done. He'll be out by 2.
Well, no, this is actually a 1:00.
Is it a 1:00
game?
game? Well, then
Yeah. So at 1:10 today, while we're talking about the Masters, young Anthony Hartwig over there is going to be like, wait a second. What is this over here? What are you doing?
And I'm doing like this, go win,
You're not doing RVD. You're doing look at me, Kansas City. We're winning. Yeah, okay. Just keep me updated over there in terms of what the Royals and Indians are doing, since I have to stare at my ugly mug and commercial breaks instead of watching a damn baseball game. Brian Tolnar will talk Masters. And did he or did he not say Jordan Spieth would win last week? I believe he did.
Well, he picked Kuchar because I said, "Oh, that's a great pick because he went to Georgia Tech." I thought he had
Spieth in his top 5.
Wait, I threw it. I was about to say I had it written down because but I did not keep that page.
All right, well,
Note to self: always keep the notes from Running Point.
Yeah,
it might be worth something in 50 years.
well, I don't know about that. Your
When they make
your Time Life or the Life magazine
That's a good
might
story.
be worth something.
We were at a flea market. Long story short, I found some very historically important Life magazines just sitting on the floor at a flea market yesterday for like $3 a pop. And on the internet, they're a lot more valuable than $3. I'll just put it at that. So
you can get a lot of valuable things at a flea market.
Someone that didn't know their history dates gave those magazines away, and I took it all full advantage of it.
Yeah, that's like I said, garage sales and flea markets.
Know your dates in history, and it'll save you.
You can seriously get some.
Because I bet people will look at that
stuff.
like, December 1st, 1941. No, that's just
That's only a week before.
This is 6 days before Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, it's only a week before Pearl Harbor. I mean, it's no big deal.
Hey, September 15th, 1939. That's only a week after Hitler invaded Poland. I mean, I'll just give that magazine away. Thank you.
You don't know your history. You're bound to lose money.
Thank you.
Oh, God. Here we go. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. Brian Tolnar will preview the Masters. We'll get the latest on what is happening at Mill Creek. Good Lord, what a great course. And the South Course is getting ready or is already open. We will get... we will get Brian's opinion on the Masters as well as what's going on at Mill Creek.
Now, some softball scores to go over. I was at the West Branch Marlington game. Very good softball game. Both teams pretty good. Marlington won 5-3, but West Branch had the bases loaded with one out in the bottom of the seventh, trailing by 3, and then trailing by 1 because the wild pitch came around. They intentionally walked someone. So basically, trailing 5-3 with the bases loaded and one out, and one of their best hitters at the plate. And unfortunately, she went after a high changeup, popped it up in the infield, and then the third out was a really nice running catch by the Dukes left fielder. So West Branch couldn't quite get it across. Situational hitting kind of failed them a little bit. But
do they have in softball? Do they have the infield fly rule?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I was wondering if
that
was the
Jordan Anderson earlier in the game hit a ball off the scoreboard in center. So she can mash. That was her third home run of the year, and it was a rocket too. It's about 230 in center, so goes off the scoreboard that's in center. It's probably like estimated distance 250, which is a big home run in softball.
That's not too shabby. That's putting on the big boys. That's a tape measure bomb.
Speaking of home runs, by the way, Mary Brandt, the freshman for Poland, hit 2 yesterday against Jefferson. She has 5 home runs on the year already as a freshman, and we're only, I think, 6 games into the season for Poland. So 5 home runs in 6 games. The freshman is really making a name for herself.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, it would be impressive for a senior to go 5 home runs in 6 games. For a freshman to do it, wow.
And, that's impressive. She's also hitting for average, so it's not like she's home run or bust. She has like a 440 batting average, over 10 RBIs already, and 5 home runs for the team lead. Might be the area lead for home runs. I'd have to do some digging, but I don't think anyone else has more than 5 home runs in the area yet.
Not too shabby.
No.
And by the way, today is National Beer Day, so I want to see who everyone's go-to suds is. So we can hit me up on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline at 330-886-0813, your favorite beer to consume. And is that, when you go to a baseball game, is that the go-to drink? Like hot dogs and beer at a baseball game. Now for me, hot dog, beer, but I also have to have nachos. And I have to have the jalapenos with the nachos. But this is where I get weird. I will not put cheese on my nachos.
Then it's just chips, Ron. It's just chips. If you're having nachos without cheese,
They're nachos.
What are you having?
I'm having nachos with jalapenos.
So just chips with jalapenos on them, no cheese.
No cheese. Yeah, I don't do the cheese, but the jalapenos have to be with
Why
the nachos.
No cheese? I don't understand.
I'm not a big cheese fan, so it just I'm not a big cheese fan, so I'll take the nachos with jalapenos and wash it down with a nice cold beer.
You can go and ask for the nachos at the concession stands, but tell them to not put the cheese on it.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Well, you didn't know that?
I just thought they had the nachos pre-made and they just gave you nachos. I didn't know they just made it for you at the spot.
Well, no, I mean they have the nachos. They've made the nachos, they don't make them. They get them out of a bag, but they put cheese on them. But if you tell them, hey, I don't want any cheese, but I do want jalapenos, they'll do that for you.
All right.
Yeah.
Do they charge you less since you're not having the cheese?
Well, I should probably ask that, but probably not. I mean, you're still going to pay out the wazoo for it.
Those nacho chips.
So I can look back at someone and go, nacho cheese.
Nacho cheese.
It's nacho cheese. It's my nachos without nacho cheese.
So not a nacho cheese guy.
No.
Not even like the dipping cheese and those the tray nachos that you can get like at football games, the spicy cheese.
I got to be honest, I'm not a cheese guy. I mean, the only cheese I'll eat is mozzarella.
But you like cheese on your pasta? Do you do the
No, not really.
No?
No.
Parmesan?
I mean, I could. It's not a game breaker.
You obviously like pizza with has cheese on it.
Yeah, the mozzarella cheese.
Right.
So I got no problems with cheese on my pizza. But cheese with my nachos, I would rather have salsa on my nachos.
But see, they're not nachos anymore. I define nachos as cheese. So when you say cheese without nachos, I'm thinking they're not even nachos anymore. There's something else entirely. There's chips and salsa.
Oh, well, then I'll do chips and salsa.
Right.
It's nacho chips and salsa. And you got to put some jalapenos on them. So, but that's that, and then hot dog and cold beer. I'm a Budweiser guy. So
I'm having this picture of Ron walking down the steps at a baseball stadium with a beer in one hand, nachos on the elbow, and the hot dog on the other.
Well, no. We won't do that
because you can't make two trips because that's missing like 4 innings of baseball with the lines at baseball.
Well, here's the thing. I don't miss anything because I'm going to get it from a vendor. Now, the one thing that you cannot get from the vendor is the nachos
without the cheese.
So you go nachos and jalapenos before the game. You grab that, so you get it before the game, and then during the game. Hot dog guy is around. I'm going to take 2 of those. Beer guys around. I'm going to take 1 of those.
Here's the interesting thing. This year, are they still doing vendors?
I would hope.
Is it COVID regulation to have someone else touch your food and run around the stadium with it?
There's a great question. Yeah,
because obviously they'd be wearing gloves and they wouldn't be. But still, they're going all around the stadium.
Because normally, if you're
with everybody,
if you're halfway into the bleachers, people are passing your food to you, which is disgusting in and of itself if you think about it. I don't want your grubby hands on my damn food. Get your hands off my food. But thanks a lot for ruining that thought in my head. But no, I that's a great question. I have no idea. I haven't gone to a game yet, so I don't know if the vendors are in the stands. One would hope that they are, but I honestly don't know. We had Jordan on from the Scrappers yesterday, and they are going to take advantage of the technological advances that we have in this country to where people are going to be ordering
from their seat
using their smartphone.
Yep.
And then they'll get the order to them, which I think is phenomenal.
It's the future of baseball because then you don't have to wait in lines to miss baseball games. You might have to wait longer for your food because they can only deliver so fast to a whole stadium of fans. But you're not missing it's their job to. They're not worried about missing the game, but you don't have to wait in line for 20 minutes and miss a whole half inning just to get your hot dog or whatever.
Now let me ask. and I don't ask this because I'm cheap, because, well, I may or may not be, depending on who you listen to. But do you tip the person that gives you your food?
If it was delivered to me, I would.
Yeah, see, I'm with you.
That's how you tip the delivery guy for pizza.
Yeah,
you're taking the time. You're walking to my seat.
Exactly.
And you're doing me a service. I'm not going to tip you if I'm going to your vendor. Like, I wouldn't tip the guy at the counter like you wouldn't tip the McDonald's guy when you eat in.
Well, now hang on a second, because a couple of nights ago, I went to Belleria and ordered wings.
Right.
Now, obviously, you're going there to pick up because the restaurant is closed. So you have to pick the stuff up or you have it delivered. But if you pick the stuff up, shouldn't you tip that person even though technically they're not doing anything?
You're not tipping the chef. I mean, you're literally tipping the guy for grabbing the box and handing it to you. I mean, I don't know what the protocol is for etiquette of that, but
I mean, I didn't give him a large amount of money, but I gave him some money.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I might throw him like a $2, a little here you go. Thanks for being polite.
Yeah.
But if you're walking the food to me at a baseball game,
oh yeah, you got to tip them. Absolutely.
Tip.
That's $17. Throw them a $20 and say, take the $3 and put it in your pocket. Don't give it to the man.
Don't give it to the man.
Don't give it to the man. That's your money, not the man's money. So there you go.
Do the whole Odell Beckham handshake with a nice bill in there. Hey, thanks, man.
Nice.
Yeah, take it, man.
Hey, speaking of football, can we? And again, I'm a Bills fan, but I root for the Browns except for when they play the Bills. Can we just be really, 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 really happy that Cleveland didn't select Deshaun Watson? Because Mr. Watson ain't playing another game in the National Football League. He may go to prison for a long time.
He's in some serious water.
He's in the deep end right now, and there's no life jackets in sight.
Yeah, it's making Houston look really smart because everyone is saying, like, man, you're treating Deshaun Watson like garbage. He's one of the future quarterbacks in the league. Why? And then they're like, okay, we'll part ways with Deshaun because he's unhappy. And now they're like, dodge that bullet real quick.
Yeah. Can you imagine the Carolina Panthers, the Chicago Bears, and all these other teams that were hoping to secure a deal with the Houston Texans? Hey, we're going to get our hands on an elite quarterback, only to find out. And look, he's innocent until proven guilty. But here's a little hint for everyone. When 20-some-odd women are in line saying the exact same thing, and oh, by the way, they're all masseuses, and why an athlete would use 23 different massage therapists instead of, I don't know,
he was
picking one.
He was picking.
I hate to say it, but Deshaun Watson he's
in some trouble.
He's in some serious hot water right now. And if you're a Browns fan, you should be really grateful right now that the Browns didn't select Deshaun Watson.
Remember, like a month ago, we were saying, would you straight up trade Deshaun Watson for Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, absolutely. and I believe I said, but it wouldn't make any sense because it would go against the salary cap.
We weren't saying that because of the issues he was having. We were saying that because it wouldn't make sense financially.
Yeah.
So the Browns are kind of lucky that it wouldn't make sense financially.
Oh, my God, absolutely. Could you imagine if management had decided, okay, Deshaun's a better quarterback, we're going to go into this direction, and we're going to make this deal. Could you imagine where the Browns organization would be right now if that deal would have been made? Oh, dear God. Oh, it would have been like 2020 happened a million years ago, and all of the function that was 2020 was a 1-year thing, and you just went back into the dysfunctional Browns again. Thank God they didn't make that deal.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like the teams in the NFL probably could get sniffs of what was going on before it was public knowledge. There were probably some rumblings, and the Texans were probably telling people, like, hold off. Just trust me. trust me, hold up. Because I feel like before it went public, I mean, something like that doesn't really pop out of nowhere. There's probably some grumblings in the water that the league, people around the league knew about behind closed doors before it became as public as it did.
Well, and you got to wonder, because, look, there's 4 or 5 teams that were really hot on the trail of Deshaun Watson, and none of them were willing to give the Houston Texans what they wanted. I mean, maybe they knew something. Maybe they sensed something was off. All I know is the Houston Texans, that organization is a mess right now, and Deshaun Watson may not take another snap in the National Football League. He may be spending significant time behind bars, which, that is just a horrible, horrible thing going on in Houston. And the more women that come out and are basically telling the exact same story, this just doesn't look good for Deshaun Watson. And again, if you're a Browns fan, you got to be thanking the football gods, small g, that Jimmy Haslam wasn't stupid enough to get their hands on a guy that's probably never going to play football again, or in a very long time.
And it's such a shame because Deshaun Watson was one of those players that really looked like he was going to be a young rising star.
Yeah.
We were all like the Houston's not handling him right, but if he gets in the right situation, he's got all the talent in the world. He's got what we thought was the head on his shoulders. A lot. I said it before. I thought Deshaun Watson was more mature than Lamar Jackson on the football field, and he had all the running ability of Lamar Jackson, but he was making plays in clutch situations unlike Lamar Jackson. So I was thinking, like, man, I think I would put more value in him over Lamar. But now all of a sudden,
you're not touching him at all. And as a Bills fan, thank God. The fleeting thought after the 2018 season. You want to trade Josh Allen to Houston for Deshaun Watson? Yeah, thank God that was a fleeting thought.
Right, but it might have gotten you a Super Bowl in 2018.
Probably not. Although, their defense was pretty good back then. We'll see.
Would you trade a Super Bowl for the franchise quarterback? Like okay, Deshaun Watson is going to be in this hot mess in about 2 years. We're not going to have him anymore. But he won us the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, this is one of my favorite questions, and you can only ask this to people who have not won a championship in forever and a day. So you can not ever. So you can use this in the Super Bowl era for the Browns. Would you rather have a Super Bowl championship followed by 20 years of what the Browns have been up until 2020? But you have that Super Bowl title that you can sit back and say, hey, we won a Super Bowl championship. Oh, but you got 20 years of pretty garbage football.
The way Cleveland fans responded after LeBron left the second time, I think they're just happy with a championship, and then you can be trash again, because that's exactly what happened to the Cavaliers. They won the championship, then LeBron left, and then all the Cleveland fans said, thanks for your stuff, go have fun in L.A. They weren't mad about it. They were just like, cool, thanks for bringing us a chip, and we'll see you soon. And now they're in the dumpster again. Yeah. And I'm not saying they're happy about it, but they're not.
I'm not happy about it.
They're not exactly like, as a whole, Cleveland fans don't seem in an uproar that the Cavaliers are terrible.
Look, the Indians haven't won a World Series in my lifetime. I think the last time the Indians won a World Series, my dad was a teenager, my mom was 10, actually going on 10 years of age. So it's been a while.
And in baseball, when you win a championship as a small market organization, you have to realize your sustained success is even harder for you. I mean, it happened to the Royals. They won it in 2015, and eventually those players are going to find places where they'll pay them a lot more than you can, because they're good enough to win a World Series.
Okay, so you're the poster child for this question because You're a huge Royals fan. The Royals won a championship 6 years ago. Are you still clinging on to the World Series title, knowing that Kansas City, for at least another year or so, isn't going to be a threat to to postseason. But
If
you
it only-
did win a championship.
If it only lasts 6 years, that's cool, I don't want to see what happened in 1985 where we win a World Series and don't go to the playoffs again for 29 years.
Yeah.
Like right after we won the World Series, no playoffs. That's brutal to be at the high and then low really quick.
See, I don't have a problem with what the Indians have done since Tito became manager of the Indians. They've sustained themselves to where they're winning an average of 90-plus games a year. And in 2016, they caught lightning in a bottle and wound up going to the World Series. And because they were injured, they just weren't able to get across the finish line because they were on fumes by the World Series, and they blew a 3-1 series lead to Chicago because they were on fumes. Now, having said that, if they win a World Series title in 2016, but then go into the toilet and lose like 100 games in 7 of the next 10 years, I'm not going to be too happy as an Indians fan.
I love the Cleveland fans saying that they were on fumes in the World Series because the argument is flipped in the NBA because really the Warriors were much more tested in the Western Conference Finals than the Cavs were in 2017? Is that when they won it?
Yeah, but
and so you argue, the
Warriors
Warriors weren't on fumes at all.
But
the Indians were on fumes. Wait a minute.
Was Golden State missing a lot of significant players?
They were on the court, but they were not 100%.
The Indians weren't even playing.
Okay,
Members
fine.
of the Indians weren't even playing.
But the point of the fact is, the Warriors went through, 2 7-game series in the Western Conference playoffs before even getting to the finals. And the Cavs swept right through the playoffs and got to the
I
finals.
get that.
But I'm not saying the Warriors were on fumes. I'm just saying it's funny when the Indians fans say, well, we were on fumes in the World Series, and then they'll completely erase. They won't even hear that the Warriors might have been a little bit more tired than the Cavs.
Oh, there's no question they were.
In the finals.
There's no question they were. And the fact that Draymond Green was kicked out of Game 5 was huge for the Cavaliers winning that game.
Either way,
if Draymond Green doesn't get kicked out of Game 5, you may not have that 3-1 series comeback.
There's really no excuse for either team blowing a 3-1
No,
lead.
but if Trevor Bauer wasn't playing with his damn toys, the Indians may have won a World Series in 2016. I'm just saying. The argument is, if the Indians had won a World Series in 2016, but in the next 4 or 5 years had some just hot, steaming pile of garbage, I'm not happy.
Now, this was the argument for we brought up the Royals in 2016. They were decent, and at the All-Star break they had a chance. They weren't in the first place, but they were
still good.
They were good. The argument for the Royals were: do you keep these players who probably aren't going to be here after next year to try to get to the playoffs one more time and then see what you can do, or do you get rid of them now and have more value and start your rebuild a year early? And the Royals chose to keep their players. They didn't make the playoffs, and then the value they didn't get as much for them as they would have a year earlier in 2017 when they all left. They couldn't trade them. They didn't trade them. They all left in free agency after that season, actually.
Yeah.
So that was the people think it set back the rebuild a little bit. The Royals didn't trade their players. They went for the playoffs. And they took a little bit longer to try to be competitive again.
See,
what do you do in that situation?
I wouldn't have had a problem trading those guys and start the rebuild and try to get back into the playoffs again by 2019, 2020. Right. I mean, at least they weren't as just blatantly horrendous as the then Florida Marlins when they won the World Series in '97. They didn't even allow these players to come back in '98. They traded most of the talent from that World Series team after the '97 season in the winter meetings. And I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? You brought a city that normally doesn't support baseball in Miami, Florida. You brought this city alive to where people were going to a dumpster fire of a stadium that's for football and not baseball, 70,000 strong, for your postseason, and then you do your fans like that? Oh, that was horrible.
Random hot take. I miss the old Marlins logo and uniforms. I don't like their new little M with the rainbow fish going. I like the Marlin with the green and the teal and the black with the F going over the F.
Agreed.
I miss that. And the Marlins, like, going across the jersey that had kind of a seafood.
Yeah.
Kind of a, you'd see in a seafood restaurant, that kind of font feel.
I do love their stadium.
Their stadium's awesome.
Yeah, their stadium's gorgeous.
I miss their old color scheme, and I miss their old their logo.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I'm a sucker for like this. I like the Panthers, in my opinion, have the best color scheme in the NFL. I like the lightning kind of blue, teal kind of with the black. It fits to me.
Okay, I'm gonna steal some material because I heard this a couple of days ago, but we're gonna steal this material because it wasn't copyrighted. Give me your 3 favorite baseball hats from Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Give me your 3 favorite, and it could be, you could be going back a ways, which may not be in existence right now. Give me your 3 favorite Major League Baseball hats.
I like the Angels, the A with the halo.
Yep,
it's a great logo.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say Angels, Cardinals, Royals.
The lock in KC is phenomenal,
and then the STL. I like that hat. It's slick.
Well, I kind of like the bird. The bird on the bat is a pretty cool logo.
The Cardinals jersey, like the bat going across with the bird on the end.
Yeah.
And as much as it hurts because it's one of our interconference rivals.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Cardinals, absolutely.
A major respect to my divisional team in Kansas City. I love the KC locked.
Right.
And I hate the Yankees with every fiber of my being, but the NY.
It's iconic.
It's iconic. It absolutely is. And then call me a racist if you want to, but Chief Wahoo is cool as hell on a ball hat. I'm sorry, it is. I understand that it's degrading to the Native Americans. I get it, but I grew up in an era where Chief Wahoo was a caricature and a baseball caricature. I understand that not exactly the greatest thing in the world to Native Americans, but it sure did look cool on a hat. So
here's the other thing that was really like, he was a Chief Wahoo, and he only had 1 feather. And you like
you gotta have the headdress.
Chiefs have the if you're a chief, you have to be like I don't know all Native American maybe there are some Native American cultures that have the chief with the 1 feather, but I feel like when you think chief, you think like the headdress and the extravagant kind of looking member of the tribe that stands out and says, "I'm the chief." I get it looks better with the one feather with the baseball cap. You can't fit a guy with a headdress on a logo, but it was interesting.
Well, to me, if we're going to go Native American, the Chicago Blackhawks logo is iconic and it is awesome.
It's really similar to the Redskins Native American guy, which doesn't exist anymore.
The team doesn't.
I like the Seminoles arrow going across the helmet.
Oh, there you go.
When we're talking about Native American.
Yeah. Now, I would go honorable mention to the Indians, and they only wore it for a couple of years in the 70s. The Crooked C.
Yeah.
I
don't like the block C, to be honest.
No, the block C it's too generic, and it kind of reminds me a little bit too much of the Reds and the Cubs.
I like the White Sox.
The White Sox logo is cool.
Boston, classic.
Yeah.
But I'm still going with St. Louis, Kansas City, and the Angels.
The Old English D is pretty cool.
And
with Detroit,
the A's. I mean the yellow brim with green. Yellow and green just go good together.
Okay.
I mean, but I'm still going with Angels, St. Louis. Kansas
well, the old school Angels with the halo
right.
over the A was pretty cool as well. The mustard yellow or gold of the Pirates when Clemente was playing. Clemente, Scoop Oliver, Willie Stargell. That was a really cool look as well. And their logo, which was the pirate that kind of sort of looked like an extra from the Village People. I mean that kind of looked pretty cool as well. Not as badass as the Pirates logo of today, though. But the mustard yellow P for the Pirates, that hat was pretty cool.
Maybe one of the best upgrades in uniforms. The really strong looking pirate now compared to the not so intimidating pirate.
Well, the pirate of the early '70s looked like an extra for the village people.
Right, he wasn't intimidating.
Yeah, he just wasn't. I mean,
that and the Seattle Seahawks upgrade from the old Seahawks that looked kind of like.
Yeah.
And now they had the real fierce looking Seahawk logo.
And then you have.
Plus, I love that color scheme. I love the blue with the green and the.
And then you have the classic look of no logo, Cleveland Browns.
Right.
I love it. I hope and pray that when Nike decides to be stupid, like they've done with Patriots Day, with I don't even know what the hell that color is for Boston, which is absurd. I hope if when Nike decides to do something for the Browns, don't touch the helmets. That orange helmet looks perfect.
Well,
just leave it. Leave it as is.
Browns already tried to change their orange. It was
terrible. Ugh. I just looked at this and I was like, wait a second. No. This is not Cleveland Browns orange. This is puke orange. And who in their right mind needs to put Cleveland on their shirts? Everyone knows the Browns look. You don't have to put Cleveland anywhere on the uniform. I'm just so glad they went back to the old school. And I wish Buffalo would get rid of the charging bill, which is a pretty cool look.
I like.
Give me the old AFL Buffalo look.
My favorite Buffalo helmet was back when they were the red helmet with the blue and white stripe.
Yeah.
And the charging Buffalo.
Yeah.
With the kind of the color scheme, it was kind of like blue white on the helmet, and you could really. I don't like the white helmet with the blue stripe and the red outline.
Yeah.
I like the red helmet.
I would just love for them to get rid of the charging Buffalo and go back old school AFL. Here's the standing Buffalo. Just go from there.
Only when you're bad, you want to be charging. You don't want to be standing.
Well, buffaloes are pretty tough creatures in their own right. So
especially when they're charging.
Well, yeah, it just doesn't. I mean, it looks okay, but I like the standing buffalo. It's just me. The standing buffalo reminds me of the old AFL and the early NFL Buffalo Bills. And my favorite player, who later turned out to be a scumbag in life, Orenthal James Simpson. All right, we're going to take a time out. We're going to talk some Masters golf. And we have to take the advice of Mr. Tolnar, because he's going to give advice on the game of golf.
The return of the tips of the week.
The tips of the week, which we will hopefully have in magazine or small book form for everyone.
Your notepad ready?
My notepad is over here. My pen is right here.
All right.
And we are also going to have him guide us through my $100,000 contest that we're going to be doing this week. So Brian Tolnar is coming up next. We will talk some golf with the man who runs Mill Creek. That's all coming up after this. Stick around, more to come.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends: shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Klim from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. It's Wednesday, it's 1 o'clock, and it's time to talk some golf with our boy from Mill Creek. We will talk about the happenings of Mill Creek, and we also have the Masters tournament down in Augusta, Georgia.
Forgot my piano.
Oh, God. Please no.
It's because I know how much you hate it.
Yeah. Hello, friends. Brian Solnar joins us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Good day, my good friend.
Hey, how are you? Welcome to sunny Florida here in Youngstown, Ohio.
Indeed. This is beautiful weather. I'm wondering, without kind of getting anyone in trouble, how many people have, shall we say, skipped out of work today to do some golfing in Mill Creek?
Today, yesterday, or the weekend with the par 3, they've been all out. It's good to see everybody back in action. It's good to see our range is now open, so we got players coming out to work on their game and hone their skills for the 2021 season here at Mill Creek. But it's just been fabulous. There's a lot of activity in the park, golf-related, non-golf-related. It's good to see people out and about. And, hopefully we're at the end of this COVID run, and we'll get to eliminate some masks at some point, get our programming back and running. I know our board is voting on it on Monday evening, so there's a possibility that it could reopen as early as Tuesday for the outdoor activities, and I think around the 1st of May for the indoor activities. So it's about time. I think everybody's ready, and they all have that cabin fever that everybody does, and especially when you throw the Masters into the equation, and people watching that, folks will sign their kids up for the drive, chip, and putt, the PGA Junior League, and they get acclimated with the game of golf and want to come out and play before and after the event. So it's a great time for golf.
Brian, is the South Course open for business?
The South Course is open, the North Course is open, the Par 3 course is open, and the driving range. We've got everything out of the gate ready to rock and roll. The only thing that's on hold still is the programming and the lessons and clinics and stuff, but like I said, I think we're very close to being around the corner for those and getting those back to functioning at 100% capacity. Our
very own Jeff Bezos was golfing on Mill Creek earlier this morning. So, if you saw a big man, running around the golf course, it might have been Bezos.
Yeah, it's been packed. So it's been nice to see. The golf course is in great shape. Our superintendent Lance Bailey and his staff have got it looking like Augusta out there. It's emerald green right now, so a great spot to be in, albeit the very beginning of April. And if you recall, last year this time we weren't even playing still. So we're a month ahead of schedule. With the opening in March, and we've got a whole extra month than we did last year at this time. So it's exciting.
All right, and for those that are hiding under a rock, or for those that might be out of town that don't realize how gorgeous Mill Creek is, the north and the south course, both 18 holes in length, championship caliber golf courses. Brian Tolnar, tell everyone the greatness that is Mill Creek.
It is. Anytime that you have Donald Ross come in and design a golf course, we're fortunate enough that he came in and designed two on the same property here at the Metro Parks. It's phenomenal. The trees are starting to bud. Parking lots are starting to fill up. We're starting to see folks that we haven't seen since October, November last year. So it's exciting to get everybody back in the fray. The Part 3 being open. Our junior leagues are going to start there in the latter part of April, early May. So it's nice to see them back after a year hiatus on both the Sandwich Factory Boys and Girls League. PGA Junior League's back. We've got about half of our schedule completed with that. So, if you got kids that are interested, if you got ladies interested, we've got some ladies golf schools, preseason clinics available. Get ready golf for those who are interested in, trying the game out to see if you like it or not. We've got those listed for the month of May as well. So it's going to be a very full calendar for us. Some of the outings are back this year. Some others are still on hold, but it's nice to see that in the league play and getting the leagues back at 100% capacity for those who took the year off last year. But, weather, anytime you look out, it's 77, 79 degrees, the sun's out, and the fairways are green, and it's nice to see people and traffic here in the park. But come out and play if you get a chance, because the course is in excellent shape.
Ron brought up people from out of town, so I'm wondering, does the website have like a way for people to have like a virtual tour, or maybe a good view of the golf course for people that might be like the people that travel around the country to try to hit golf courses that are lesser known in suburb areas? Or is there a way for those kind of people to recognize Mill Creek on the internet and be like, hey, this is a course that we have to hit?
Yeah, there's a number of ways to get involved from out of town. We do, normally, with exception of the last, 2 years, this year and last year with the COVID, we normally go to Michigan, do a golf show there in Toronto to get a lot of Canadian players to come back down, New York, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and then we also did a recreation show at Youngstown State University, which obviously this year's on hold as well. But, we really promoted hard with the Business Bureau here in Mahoning County. We have a partnership with them. We do some advertising together with them. We do some golf shows where they give us some grant money for our staff to be able to go and lure people back into the Mahoning Valley, not just at our course at Mill Creek, but all the rest of the courses in Mahoning County. So it's a nice feature to showcase your facility, and we've been doing that for, let's see, I've been here, this is year 7. We started that my second or third year. So we've got a lot of leads, a lot of folks that will come and travel with the hotel packages that we have. All are on our website and on the Youngstown Live website. It gives you an itemized detail of everything that's here, course-wise, hotel stay and play packages. Very inexpensive trip. We're just excited to be able to get people back. I know we've had a ton of groups that took last year off are back into the fray again this year. So it's nice to have them there. It's really nice to showcase the area. Not only just golf, but everything else that goes along with it, and from that point on. So, they're dining here, they're shopping here, they're doing everything, here locally to support the area and do the things that the tourism board's trying to do with, really showcase the Mahoning County and the venues that are in there, the park itself, and across the board.
And hopefully we can get some Fortune 500 companies out of the state of Georgia and up into the state of Ohio. That would be nice.
I'll tell you what, it's we're a sleeping giant, and I think it's just a matter of time till everything comes together, the way that it's supposed to. And I think you're right. We have every way that a company would want to get here, whether it's a waterway, whether it's an airport, whether it's a highway system. We've got everything. So it's just a matter of getting one or two, and they sort of cannonball after that. So if we can entice someone to come here, absolutely love it, and it would be, our area is here for the taking. From an inexpensive standpoint, it's very inexpensive to stay here, play golf for a weekend. It's very inexpensive to dine. It's a great weekend getaway. It's a great vacation destination. Spend some time in the park, and what we've seen is a number of folks will take day trips knowing that they can't go on vacation because there's some COVID regulations, whether it be Myrtle Beach or New Jersey, Atlantic City, Las Vegas, the whole 9 yards. So it's nice to be able to jump in the car, do a day trip, or do a one-night overnight stay, before heading out, where it doesn't take you too long in the car. You can get to just about anywhere in the state in 3 or 4 hours. So it's not that big of a drive to be able to drive down, play, enjoy a nice dinner, spend the night, play the next morning, and then head back. So it's that's one of the things that we found last year. A lot of things were bad with COVID, but for the golf industry itself, I think whether it was the locals just playing more golf or people coming back into the fray after about a 10 or 15 year hiatus, it's nice to have them back. But it's always nice to invite and bring friends in from out of town and have an experience everything that we have here to offer them Honing Valley. So it's great. We've had a great partnership with the tourism board and what they've allowed us to do to work together to really draw people here and gravitate them towards the game of golf.
Yeah, and I imagine that weekends after big tournaments like the Masters or any of the other majors that more people are watching on TV, you guys see a pretty big spike in the week after that because people just watch it and naturally just want to go out and play.
It is. It certainly gets them amped up, and then if you're looking outside and it's 79 degrees and sunny like it's supposed to be for a few more days here, it's the icing on the cake. But I mean, you watch that, you want to go out and be able to do that and try to replicate what you're seeing on television. 9 times out of 10 doesn't happen, but as long as you get the chance to come out and play and take part in an activity that you're watching on television, and the Masters is a great culmination to the spring. Boom, it's here. You're seeing the flowers bud and the trees bud start to fill out. So it's a great time. And I tell everybody, if there's one person that you'd want to be, it's Jim Nantz. I mean, literally the guy goes from calling the Final Four, the championship game, to landing on the grounds at Augusta and having a call there all week. I mean, what a cool deal. I mean, you're at the height of the end of the winter sports, and you're at the height of the spring, and then really the big kickoff to the golf season. So it's great. And can't envy somebody any more than Jim Nantz, because I think he's got the best of both worlds when it comes to that, for sure.
Hello, friends. Yeah, from Butler Cabin. Hello, friends. All right, it is Masters Week, and obviously this is the first of the 4 majors. It is the iconic of the 4 majors. It's the only one of the 4 majors where the same time, same year, same course, same people that run the course. There's tradition, unlike any other major tournament. That's what makes the Masters so cool. Talk about Augusta National and what makes this course so unique.
Well, I think what makes it so unique is, obviously Bobby Jones and Cliff Roberts designed the golf course. Bobby Jones was the first to win the Grand Slam, won it in consecutive order, and just was one of the best players in the early 1900s. So designing a golf course, preparing it for tournament golf, and it is the only major that's played at the same venue year in and year out. It's the smallest of any of the major fields, so it's the toughest to get into. But if you get into it, you have a unique opportunity to play against a very elite field. All the players, from top to bottom, have qualified to get here. You have a number of ways that you can get in. To name a couple, if you're a Masters champion, you're basically you can play for life. You get the invitation whether you want to play or not. It's up to the player. If you won the U.S. Open the last 5 years, the British Open, the PGA Championship in the last 5 years, you get an automatic invitation to the Masters tournament. If you are a Players Champion, an Olympic gold medalist, one of the unique things about this event is it also invites amateurs. So they invite the U.S. amateur, any of the amateur championships overseas, the Asian Pacific, the Latino American, U.S. Mid-Amateur. Usually the amateurs and the runner-ups get invites. Bobby Jones never turned professional, so he was really keen on making sure that the amateurs had an opportunity to play. PGA Championship, you don't have any amateurs in the field. British Open, you have a couple. U.S. Open, you have a couple. This one has the most amateurs in the field of any event that you play in from a majors perspective. The only way that you get into the U.S. Open is if you do through the qualifying stages. So there's a long way to go, and a lot of tour players are qualifying in those with the amateurs as well. So it's neat to have that spin on it. It's neat to finish in the top 12 and have the opportunity to come back of the previous year's Masters tournament. So it's important to play well, and it's important to play well consistently there to get your invitations back. If you're not a amateur champion, if you're not a tour professional, you haven't won anything, to get in there. It's very important to finish well there, and it's very important to finish in the top 4 at the other 3 majors because you also get an exemption from that. So, if you look at that, you look at all the players that qualified in the Tour Championship, they get an invitation. Top 50 in the previous world rankings get in. Top 50 in the world rankings get in, and then they also do some international invitees. So, it's a who's field from top to bottom with some really big names, really big draws with some amateurs in that field. But, when it comes down to the back nine on Sunday afternoon at 3, 4 o'clock and you're watching everybody come down the line, it's really going to come down to a core of about 25% of that field that know that golf course inside and out. So, picking the right people, this one's probably the easiest of the majors because, the folks that have the more rounds on the golf course, the more reps and more, tournaments and events played there certainly have a huge advantage. And that goes back to past winners. I mean, if you look at what Freddie Couples has done, he's a perfect example. Year in and year out, Freddie just puts 3 rounds together. He just can't put all 4 together. But, I mean, he's hung around on first page of leaderboard shooting under par up until, 2 and 3 years ago at, 60 years old. So, I mean, it's nice to be able to see some of the old names get in there and play, the past champions get in there and play. And, because there's a lot of great history. I mean, you start there on Sunday. They have the ladies event finishing up on Saturday and Sunday, and Sunday you have the drive, chip, and putt. Monday the players are on site for practice rounds. Tuesday you got the champions dinner. Normally Wednesdays you have the par 3 tournament shootout. So that's obviously not going to happen this year with the COVID still. And, then you get into the round on Thursday, Friday, try to make that cut, get yourself in a good position to make a run on Saturday, which is their big moving day, and you see a lot of the low scores. And then, if you're fortunate enough to get into that last probably 2 or 3 groups, you got a pretty legitimate shot of winning your first major. I want to say about 97 or 98% of the winners of the Masters come out of that final pairing. So it's important to put yourself in position, whether you're not first place, but you want to be in second place, having that last twosome out on the golf course, because you certainly have an advantage. You can be aggressive, knowing what the number is posted, if it's posted ahead of you, or if you have the lead, gives you a little bit of a buffer, coming down the stretch and making the turn at Amen Corner and, doing the damage that's done on the back nine of Sunday, good and bad, because you have both of that. But what a great venue from top to bottom, with what they've done there, Clifford Roberts and Bobby Jones, in the inception of the tournament and being built. It seems like every 10 years or so they lengthen or do something to the golf course, and that goes back to 1940. And you got to keep in mind, when the facility opened up, obviously it was around the Great Depression time, so there was some limits on what they wanted to do down there, but didn't do. But I think what they've done with what they had to work with has been spectacular when it comes to the golf course. They, originally, they wanted to put in a ladies' course. They wanted to do some squash and tennis and some estates and stuff around the facility, but when the Great Depression hits, finances are certainly short and membership is a little bit low. So it limits you on what they could have done out of the gate. But I think, technology, there's no other tournament that's brought the game of golf into the fray like the Masters and what they've done. They were the first scoreboard tournament to have a scoreboard all around the property. They were first to be on television. They're first to paint the cups white so you can see the cup when you're putting on television. First to be broadcast internationally. Just top to bottom, they were way ahead of their time on what they did to really shaping the game of golf into what it is when it comes to that, professional and high amateur level, back in the 30s, and what their vision was has really made the game what it is today. They were the ones that, changed the color for under par and over par, which, up until that point, it was everybody just had a score and it was up there. So, it really made you look at the leaderboard. It made you see what the entire field was doing. And from a television perspective and, the housing that they have there for media is, second to none. With the access that they have, the media center is phenomenal. It's probably one of the best on tour. Probably the second closest would be what they have at the Players' Championship down in Sawgrass in Ponte Vedra, Florida. But, top to bottom, they've thought of everything you could think of. And, they have some historical, monuments on the golf course, from the big oak tree where the players meet outside the clubhouse. It's been there since the 1850s. no longer there, but the Eisenhower tree was another. Ike's Pond, Ray's Creek. Just some of the things that you'll see this weekend, the Butler Cabin where they do all the interviews. I mean, just really unique to the property. 18 holes of championship golf. They also have a 9-hole par 3 course that's just as spectacular as the golf course. Very undulating, very hilly. And that's the only thing that television doesn't do the property justice, because there is so much hills, there is so much ravines, so much topography from, hitting upward, hitting downward, and the slopes that you have. And the greens, at any place that I've been, they look absolutely impossible, and how those guys putt them is spectacular, because they're extremely tough. They've got so much undulation and slope in them that if you miss it to the wrong side, not only is it hard to putt, there's a lot of spots that you just can't get it up and down if you miss the green. So you got to make sure that your misses are calculated, you're missing them on the right side to where you can get the ball up and down, where you don't have that constant 10 or 15 footer for par or to save a bogey or to save a big number, which comfortably comes up every once in a while when a player hits it in the water or rinses it on a par 3 from here to there. So I mean, you have to golf your ball well this week. You have to be very precise with your iron shots. The cutting patterns are similar to what we saw last week at the Texas Valero Open. They cut everything from the green towards the player, so that the grain's always into you, which means you have to hit the golf ball first, just a hair off, a little bit heavy or a little bit behind it. The golf ball is going to fly a little bit short of your target by about 5 to 7 yards. And on some of the holes that you have forced carries, that's a difference of hitting it in the water, hitting it into a bank, and watching it roll back, as opposed to hitting it up on the green and giving yourself an opportunity or a putt.
Now, Ron is very excited because he's got some serious cash on the line this week in his pick 'em up. So I think you're going to have to help him a bit. But as your client, I inform you to not give any sure-handed responses that would leave you liable to if Ron makes some mistakes.
Well, first of all, I'm not betting on this. It's a contest where the winner, if you have
he does have money at stake.
Yeah,
but he does have money at stake because he could win a lot.
Yeah, there's $100,000 that for anyone that can be perfect in the contest. So we have to ask some very pertinent questions. Before we do, I want to get an idea of where you are with this. It'll give me an idea of which golfer to choose. Sure. So fire away with your top 5 and your ultimate pick to win this weekend at Augusta.
You got it. My top 5 starts out with the reigning champion, Dustin Johnson. I mean, obviously putting up 20 under in November and winning a Masters is certainly huge. He hasn't done much lately, but any time that any of these players go through the gates and down Magnolia Lane, the juices start to flow, they get pumped up, they get excited, and I think that leads them to be able to play a little bit better. They sort of elevate their game when they need to. So I think Dustin Johnson, certainly at number 5, is a good pick there. Not necessarily 1 or 2 right out of the gate. He is, obviously the number 1 ranked player of the world. There's no doubt about that in his body of work. But I think, there's a lot of things that come into the fray when you're a defending champion. There's a lot of responsibilities that week as a defending champion, other than just putting the jacket on the player and picking out the Tournament of Champions dinner. So I've got him down a couple notches. At number 4, I have Jon Rahm. I think he's playing well enough. He plays well there. He's always had one big hiccup, whether it be a Saturday round or a Sunday round, making a double or a triple bogey in a time where he's 1 or 2 back or leading by a shot. And I think he's got to jump that hurdle, and it's one of the reasons why we have him coming in at number 4. He certainly drives it well. He drives it long. He's a great iron player. Gets a little nervous every once in a while coming down the stretch. That's one of the reasons why he hasn't won more than he has. He's certainly put himself into contention. But I think the more cracks at Augusta, it's like putting a Rubik's Cube together. There's certain ways that you got to go to put the thing together. But once you figure out the formula, it gets to be pretty easy. But it takes repetition. So I think Jon Rahm, certainly being in the mix is definitely going to be good this week. Just how he plays from tee to green. Bryson D Chambers is our number 3 player. Certainly has the power game to get it around. Will he try to overpower the golf course? He had me wrong at the U.S. Open last year. with him trying to overpower and, drive it really close to these par fours. I didn't think it was the winning formula, especially with the rough, but he hit it so far it really didn't matter. So I've got him up there. And again, it's going to come down to Bryson's putting. He's good tee to green. It's how many putts he can make. And again, with anybody in this list or any of our sleepers this week, it comes down to staying away from the big mistake, making sure that you miss on the right side. And I think with his logic and the way he thinks and plots his way around the golf course, you have to be meticulous in where you miss it and where you take your shots. I think he's up there because I think he's about as headstrong as anybody, and the way he thinks, having that physics major. Number 2 is Justin Thomas. I think he's been around, just can't crack the shell. So I think he's playing well enough. I think he's as good as anybody else is from tee to green, and I think he'll have a decent showing this week, a top 5, top 3, and I think he'll be in that conversation of the list of players that are coming down the stretch on Sunday in that top 2nd, 3rd, 4th position. And then my winner, I'm going to pick a past winner going back to the 2018 Masters, U.S. player Patrick Reed. He grew up in Georgia, went to Augusta State, had some opportunity to play there as a collegiate player, played there as an amateur. I just think he is just rock solid, and there's nobody's game that's built as good as his is for Augusta, the way he plays. Long off the tee, gets very streaky and hot with his putter. If he gets hot at Augusta, it's going to be lights out. I think he'll have another performance like he did in 2018. Great iron player, keeps it in play, doesn't make a big number, very steady, and it's a guy that you don't want to have as your two-person pairing coming down the stretch if you're in that last group, because he's very intimidating to the other players. So I think he's very abrasive, very intimidating the way he plays. He's cocky, he chatters a little bit. And I think that has a little bit of an advantage, getting paired with, somebody that's, very quiet and very reserved, because I think it rattles him a little bit. And I think that's why I've got him at the number 1 spot. 2 sleepers this week. Certainly Lee Westwood. I think internationally he plays well there. He's been hit or miss there, being able to qualify. He gave it a good run the last time Mickelson won. He's played great the last 2 or 3 events. And, is obviously hitting the ball as good as anybody. He's very accurate off the tee. He's not the longest player out there, but he keeps it in play, but he gets really good iron shots. He makes the putts when he needs to. And then my other sleeper this week is Jordan Spieth, our Texas Open winner last week. Finally found his game to get over the hump and get that victory. I still think he has a little demons at Augusta from, dropping 2 shots in the water and, with a 2 or 3 shot lead when he fell apart. But he's a past champion there, and he's got a number of reps playing there, which is a huge, huge advantage, being that he won there in 2015. He really competed there in 16 and 17, just couldn't get it over the mental hump that he needed. And I think with the victory this past week at the Texas Open, he made some 5-footers when he needed them. He got it up and down. He made some birdies, and he's hitting his wedge shots probably as crisp as anybody on the PGA Tour is right now. So if he doesn't, go for the par 5s and 2, his wedge game is spectacular, getting it inside 5 to 10 feet. The only if and the only question mark with Jordan's game is, I want to say he only hit 5 or 6 fairways coming down the stretch on Sunday, so he drove it about as poorly as anybody. However, you're heading into a major that accuracy off the tee isn't a premium, because the rough cut is very low. It's like 1 inch, and so it's not that deep compared to driving it in the fairway. So it's not going to give him too many problems, but if he hits it way offline, he's going to be in the pine straw, he's going to be in the trees, and that's where you can make your big number if you get too aggressive and think you can do too much out of that stuff, because the ball just doesn't come out the way that you want to all the time. So, that's where we're at this week. Those are my 7 guys to watch for, but I do think there's about 20 guys in the entire field that have a legitimate shot of winning this week. The lower half of the field, obviously being past champions of 1987, 1988, 1989, really don't jive well with the length, and they're just there as an honorary player in the field. And then your amateurs, I think it's too much pressure for an amateur. So, I mean, if you take the 6 or 7 amateurs out of it, you take everybody that's won the tournament from 1990 prior, you take those folks out of there, and then your first-time players at the Masters, I think at they're in aura of everything that's going on around them. They're in aura of the grounds and how spectacular the golf course is. I think that's, knocks them down a couple notches. Seldomly you see a rookie come out there and light it up. So I think it comes down to a core of about 20 players, and the players of that core who have had the most reps continue to play well there. I think it's going to be who's going to win it. And I think it's probably the easiest of all the majors to win, not only because the field is small, but because there's only a grouping of players that are small enough that have the opportunity to hit it, that play there well year in and year out.
Yeah, you said it a little bit easier as far as predicting who's going to win, because unlike most tournaments that we talk about, you can't go down the line and pick someone that maybe down the line in odds that has a chance to win. There's only a handful of guys that really have a legitimate chance to win at the Masters. Your guy is 28-1 odds, by the way.
I got 32-1, by the way. So.
Well, we'll wait for that. Let me go first. Don't.
No, I'm saying Patrick Reed is 32-1 odds from the odds thing that I have, but I mean it depends on which place you would lay down some Skittles.
Right,
for that.
Always Skittles in Ohio. I'm going with your number 2. I have Justin Thomas winning this. He's at 10-1. So. I'm not too far off of you. I'm glad you didn't steal my pick. I was waiting after 3. I was like, I haven't heard his name yet, and I was getting kind of nervous. So I am.
Justin Thomas is probably the best player in the field not to have won. He's been close. He just, for whatever reason, hasn't got over there. But he's one of those players in that group of 20 that get enough reps and play enough based on their past performances, so they get invited year in and year out to play. And I think he's a great candidate. Drives it straight and long. Hits good iron shots, is good from 150 yards and in, and can get hot with the putter as well.
Yeah, and you had Dustin Johnson at 5. How hard is it to win back to back at the Masters?
It's very tough. I mean, it seldom happens. I want to say in 87, 88, I think was the last time that had happened with Nick Faldo, or was it 80, 88, 89, somewhere around there. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen a back-to-back. Now, Bubba Watson had won, a couple times there and bounced around. But I mean, it's the same guys are in the listing, going back and forth from top to bottom. It's just a matter of, are they going to get hot consecutively? I just don't think that it's an easy place to win in 2-peat or 3-peat. I think you'll see a lot of that, but I mean, it's not a disadvantage for whatever reason.
Brian Tolnar joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, previewing the Masters. I was with Anthony originally, taking Justin Thomas to win this thing, and I had 15 under as the winning score. Having said that, last fall when the Masters was played, it was 20 under. Dustin Johnson won the tournament at 20 under. Do you expect that kind of a score, or is it going to be lower now that we're back into playing the Masters in the spring?
I think it's going to be lower, and the reason I think that is, the golf course and the conditions down there in November versus now are completely different. It's not as dry. It's softer. They do have the benefit of having what they call the sub-air system, and they were the first to put it in. Basically, they can inject the greens with moisture, or they can take it out anytime and make them firmer or faster. So they have the opportunity to do that on a daily basis, which, you go play U.S. Open somewhere, no one has that multi-million-dollar system under the entire property of 365 acres that Augusta sits on. So, I mean, they have some advantages of being able to do things that other courses and other venues don't, based on the technology that I have. That's why I say, when it comes to Augusta National, they have better technology than anybody, and they're forward-thinking than everybody across the board, and they have been that way since the 30s all the way into today with, what they do to lengthen the golf course and recondition it. So I think, seeing what you normally see in the spring, that 12 to 15 under, I think is probably a reasonable score. I think you're going to go back to normal scoring and what you normally would see at this time of year. Plus, the guys, for the most part, play all the way through the season, going into that, where in the spring, they're selective on some venues and some events that they play. So that has a little bit to do with it too, but I think the scoring's going to be back to what it normally would be in this time frame.
Okay, before we get into your tip of the week, let me run down what I have, and I'm actually going to, when we leave here, I may or may not make a trip to West Virginia and put Skittles on the person that you have said, because 32-1 odds is pretty nice payout, depending on
absolutely.
how much Skittles you're willing to drop on a particular golfer. All right, so here is the contest that I have. It's a $100,000 for someone that picks a perfect bracket. DeChambeau over Dustin Johnson. Is that something that should happen?
I mean, I like it just because it's, Dustin's going to struggle to go back to back in a 12-month period. So I think that's probably the reality of it. I think he'll play well, and I think Bryson will have him by just a little bit.
Okay, I have Jordan Spieth over Rory McIlroy.
Take that all day. Rory's struggling big time, and Jordan's coming off a hot win at Texas. If Jordan drives it well, he should have no problem beating Rory up.
All right, I have Justin Thomas over John Rahm.
That's a pick 'em.
Yeah, exactly. I have Phil Mickelson over Bubba Watson.
Ooh, bold. Both of those guys love playing there too. That's another pick 'em. Those are tight. I mean, Phil's been hit or miss. He's either going to shoot really well or shoot 85 and finish with a 10 like he did at Texas on the first round. And literally, the guy went into the last hole at 2 over or whatever and walked off shooting 79 at like 10 over, missing the cut. So it depends on how bold or how conservative he's going to play and how patient Phil can play. He just, for whatever reason, has been impatient and wants to bomb the ball. But he's made more birdies than anybody in any field that he's played in. He just makes too many big numbers in others. However, the guy's won there 3 times and plays that golf course extremely well. So he knows how to make eagles and birdies, knows those greens better than anybody. So I would go Phil with a slight edge.
I have Xander Schauffele over Patrick Cantlay.
Good. I like that too. Xander plays the majors well.
I actually thought about taking Tony Finau to win this the Masters, but he's matched up against Colin Morikawa.
That's a tight one. I think Tony's like a 30 or 40 shot to 1. Morikawa has won a major, so I mean he's got that in his backing. Tony just has a hard time getting it done. Whether it's a major or a regular tournament, he just can't put 4 rounds together. So I like Morikawa there.
Okay. Daniel Berger over Victor Hovland.
Good. I like that too. Berger's played well the last probably 2 months on tour.
I got Lee Westwood over Tyrrell Hatton.
Yep. Lee Westwood's had some great history there. Phil Mickelson, Justin Rose, Hideki Matsuyama play well. He's one of the guys that plays well with that group. For whatever reason, there's like a corridor of players that play well in certain events, and that's he's right there.
All right, I have Scottie Scheffler over Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Scottie Scheffler's been hot. Matthew Fitzpatrick's been steady, but Scottie's probably the hotter of the two going into this.
Now, obviously, you like Patrick Reed over Sergio Garcia, but Sergio's one of those kids that, he's a grown man now, but Sergio's one of those guys that, honestly, he could come out of nowhere and win this thing because he's that talented.
Yeah, he's won there in 17. He's got a couple of runner-ups. He's always in the conversation. I just like Patrick Reed just a little bit more. Not much, but just a little bit.
All right. I'm going to reluctantly take Finau out, put Morikawa in, and we'll go from there. You have the winner of this, Patrick Reed. Where do you have him? 13, 14?
It's between. I would say go 14.
14.
14 is a good number. I think the max you're going to see is probably 15. But usually, depending on if they take some of the moisture out of the greens and speed them up for a day or two of the event, I'm thinking 12 to 15 under is probably going to be in that area, and 14 is as good as any.
All right. That sounds and looks very much like a winner. So we will see what happens. And as always, if I win, then lunch is on me.
Who did you pick to win?
Oh, I'm taking his guy.
Oh,
I'm going to go Patrick Reed. Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually. I had told myself that I would take whoever Brian Tolnar was going to grab. I was going to put him on my list. So
I want to point out that Mr. Tolnar had no knowledge of that plan before picking Patrick Reed, so he has no responsibility.
You sound like a lawyer.
All thoughts are my own.
I can't buy your thoughts, so there's no penny for your thoughts. Understand. All right, let's get to the crux of the weekly thing, and that is your advice for the week.
Season 2 tip of the week. We're getting started. Let's go.
Season 2 tip of the week. It's gonna start off just like the Masters is starting off. We're gonna talk about a little bit of early season maintenance, or a little preseason golf, which is everybody sort of dusting the clubs off, getting them out of the garage, getting the opportunity to go hit balls at the range and come out and play. I think there's a couple things that you want to key in on. Just number one, to make sure that your body is ready for swinging 100 miles an hour and putting all the torque and the pressure that a golf swing puts on your spine, your back, your lower back, your upper back, your arms, shoulders, elbows, you name it. And then we'll start off with, I'll just say short game, short game, short game. If you can spend some time chipping and putting, pitching and chipping around the green, start off slow, really just work on tempo, work on your timing, work on getting that feel that you've lost from not touching the club for a month, 2 months, 3 months, or several months as the season concluded in November. And I think if you have the opportunity to, if you haven't played or you're just getting ready and you get fired up this weekend after watching the Masters, grab a pitching wedge, grab a 9-iron, a sand wedge, a lob wedge. Practice and really focus in and key in on those clubs, around the green, chipping and putting, whether you come out to Mill Creek and use the short game area or everybody's pitching and putting greens they have at their facilities close to you at home, I think is a good way to get your feel back. And it's the toughest thing from a golf professional to teach is feel, and it's a tough thing to remember when you haven't touched the club in 3 or 4 months. So chipping, pitching, and putting are very, very vital. And I think from there, when you start, getting your eyes trained, getting your body trained, for me, I think of my first 2 or 3 rounds out of the gate after I've hit some balls and gotten ready and got prepared to go on the golf course. I think of depth perception, because the 150 on some holes coming out after a season of being on the bench looks like it's 95 miles. Other years you come out and it looks like it's 100 yards as opposed to 150. So retraining your eyes, getting them focused on the target, preparing to hit the shots that you're going to see on the golf course on the driving range, from a depth perception standpoint. And a good rule of thumb is taking those clubs that we just suggested, take them to the driving range, really keying in on a large bucket of balls with those as opposed to the driver right out of the gate. Work on your 25-yard shot, your 50-yard shot, your 75-yard shot, 100-yard shot, anything from 100 yards and in. Gain what your yardages are this year, because people's strength can, if you worked out all winter, you get stronger. If you haven't done much in the winter, you may lose some flexibility, you may lose some distance. So your pitching wedge that went 100 yards last year may go 105 this year, may go 90 yards this year if you lose some of that flexibility. It's not your golf swing, it's not the golf ball, your clubs. It's just you haven't been, in a golf-ready position to where you're rotating around your spine, you're using your lower body and your midsection. So it's a matter of regaining that tempo and timing with those shots at 25 through 100 yards. And, really concentrating on the field shots, putting as well. Putting is an important component of that. You want to be sharp right out of the gate. Get the feel for the greens. It's very different than your living room carpet was all winter long. It's like most of us, hit putts in our basement or on a nice, tight living room floor. So I think, getting, used to a green that's either slower or faster than your living room carpet is certainly a good rule of thumb. Keeping it nice and smooth. Have a 10-game or a 10-day plan. I look at it as, hey, this is the NFL's preseason game. This is, spring training for Major League. They just don't go right into playing games right out of the gate, and you shouldn't go right to the golf course right out of the gate. You should spend some time, one day it may be 50-yard shots. The next day it may be 100-yard shots. The next day it may be 25-yard shots. The next day it may be pitching from 15 to 20 yards off the green. Plan out a 10-day period where you're doing something different and you're, creating a good opportunity to gain the feel back in those clubs before you start with your mid-irons. And then, once you get comfortable, put your 7, 8, 9 in there. And then it's your 5, 6, and 7 in there. And then once the point that you get there after about a week of doing this and memorizing where you need to take the club back, where you need to follow through with the acceleration, throw in a couple tee shots. I wouldn't do them all right out of the gate. Everybody out of the gate usually, gets a new driver for Christmas or buys a new driver in the spring. They go down to the range with a bucket of balls and their driver. Well, your driver, if you're playing 9 holes, if you're lucky, you'll hit 7 of those in 9 holes, 6 of those if there's 3 par 3s on a 9-hole course that you're playing. So the premium is really on short game where you're pitching, chipping, and putting every single hole of those 9 holes, and less of spending the time on the driver. And then once you get to the point where you're comfortable, go out and walk 9 holes out of the gate. Get your lower body ready. Get your feet ready for the soft ground that you're going to be on. So when you play 9 holes or 18 holes, you don't come in and you need to be in traction the whole night. You can't get out of bed the next morning because your ankles hurt, your knees hurt, your hips, the whole 9 yards, just to get that momentum of building some endurance back up. And I think if you do those things, in a week or two of doing this, you're ready to go and you're ready to be at 100%. And you're ready to start implementing some drivers, some 3-woods, some hybrids. And then after 2 weeks is up, you're ready for your league. You're ready for, getting back to competitive golf and tournaments or playing with your buddies in a skins game. And I think if folks do that, number one, you're going to be injury-free. So you're not on the shelf for, 2 or 3 weeks out of the gate because you weren't ready to come out and swing drivers at 110 miles an hour. And you've built yourself up, you've built your stamina up during the round so you're not getting tired after 6, 7 holes of play and then leaking oil coming down the finish. So, early season maintenance or preseason is vitally important to give you some long-term success when you're going back to leagues and competitive golf and just getting back to the game after a 3 or 4 month hiatus with the winters that we've experienced up here in northeastern Ohio.
Brian, before we let you go, it's interesting that you bring this up. Obviously, going on the driving range and working on various irons to get yourself ready, but I would think before you use the north or the south course at Mill Creek, that you should probably spend some time on the gorgeous par 3 course, and that would get everything ready for you, because a par 3 course, you're not going to use the driver, you're not going to use the 3-wood in all likelihood. You'll go 5-wood all the way down to the pitching wedge if you don't hit the ball hard, and one would assume that would be a great place to start your campaign.
I think it's excellent. It's one of the fortunate pieces of the property that we really have a big advantage when it comes to stepping back into the game of golf. There, the driving range are, I think, probably the 2 biggest components for player development, player retention, because you can spend some time on both of those and you can get everything that we talked about today out of it from both of those venues. Number one, you're going to hit short shots. Number two, if you miss greens, you've got those chip shots that we talked about. You're putting, you're creating that feel. You're getting the rhythm back in. The golf course isn't overly long, so it's not a 9-hole walk right out of the gate. So you're building that endurance like we talked about. But I think, both of those properties and of the golf operation at Mill Creek are very key in getting people's foot in the door. Even if you haven't played the game, to come out and hit some golf balls and to go to the par 3. And, the attendance up there last year was the best that we'd ever had. And they started out of the gate, obviously slow with Thursday and Friday last week with some of the snow that we had. But, it got off to a late start, but it was hot over the weekend. And, everybody really enjoyed themselves going out there and getting back out there. But, you bring up a great point. The short game and 100 yards and in is really where you want to focus right out of the gate. And that's, 2 great spots to do that. And it's, very inexpensive to come out and either hit a bucket of balls for $5 or $10 or go out on the par 3 course for $5 or $6. So, I mean, you're looking to step back into the game and go full bore in it 2-3 weeks down the road, those are great starting points.
Okay, I got to ask because we did not bring his name up, and he will be in Augusta for just the second time. Jason Kokrak has not fared well. The first time he played at Augusta, he missed the cut. Do you anticipate Jason Kokrak making the cut this weekend?
I think a great week for him is to make the cut, plain and simple. And I think that's going to be his biggest focus. Make the cut, get a top 20, get a top 10 there if he can. But like we talked about earlier, it comes down to the guys that have the most amount of reps, the most amount of rounds down there, the most amount of time on that property certainly have a huge advantage. And being that it's the second time that he's been there is a little bit of a disadvantage. So I don't have him in that pool of players, but he certainly has all the tools that you're looking for. He's long off the tee. He's not only long off the tee, but he's very accurate off the tee. He's a good iron player. He putts well. He's got some imagination around the greens for chipping. His chipping has got much improved over the last 2 or 3 years. And I think he would be a guy that would definitely be in the conversation to not only making the cut, but getting top 10s, getting top 15s down at Augusta to give yourself the opportunity to come back year in and year out. You just, you need more reps. You need to study the property. You don't have too much opportunity and time to mess around and get practice rounds and do what you need to do down there unless you've won. Then you create yourself some more access. But, his game's certainly built for Augusta. There's no doubt about it.
How many reps do you think it takes for a guy to really get comfortable down there to the point where you could say, if he has a good weekend, he's a legitimate contender to win it?
I think you got to have 4, 5, 6 years under your belt. I mean, obviously Tiger's a lone exception. Jack Nicklaus is a lone exception. And those guys were, they beat people up based on who they were and what their records were, and just an intimidation factor of how good they were. But I think as guys are coming out, I think it takes you about 3 years to learn the golf course. I think it takes you 3 years to learn the property, the nuances of where not to miss it. And then I think from that point on, you start developing your game plan of where do I need to position the tee shots, where do I need to position the iron shots to, if I miss a green, that I can get it up and down. And I think if you don't have that, you'll miss it to the wrong spot. You put yourself in the positions that look easy on TV, but how the green complex is made and the slopes and the undulation to them are just flat out impossible. And it's to the point where you can't get it within 10 or 15 feet based on if you missed it to the wrong spot. So, finding trouble is one thing, but finding trouble that you can manage your way out of is another, to where you're not making a 10 or 15 footer for a par or for a bogey. You need to be able to knock it inside 5 feet and give yourself the best opportunity. If you drive it poorly, knowing which holes that you don't want to go for it from the trees or the pine straw, I think are huge. And I think, any of the players that are in their first, second, third, fourth Masters, they just don't have that because they don't have enough time down there. They don't have enough reps, or they don't have the folks that are going out with them saying, using the caddy for down there as a practice round, saying, where do I need to be? Oakmont, is another place locally up here in Pittsburgh that comes to mind. I mean, you can knock it 10 feet on a hole, and the caddy there that are really good at what they do, if you leave it in a certain spot, they're like, yeah, you'll be lucky to 3-putt from there. And you kind of laugh and chuckle, 10 feet, but you hit it in a spot where you can't stop a putt, or you hit it in a spot that's got slope that makes it run off down a bank. And I think that's the biggest disadvantage when you go play a golf course like Augusta. We talk about Pete Dye courses that have like 4 greens in one. These are like 7 greens in one. But you have to hit them on these plateaus. I mean, it's very, very impossible to hit it in spots if you drive it in the rough, if you drive it in the trees, if you're not, hitting a lot of fairways. And that's where I think, players like Phil Mickelson and Bubba Watson, they can create some stuff, but you can't create it enough to make a big difference unless you played there a lot, knowing where not to miss. I think that's the biggest key.
Brian, always a pleasure, and I'm going to take your advice and go par 3 at Mill Creek before I go on the north or the south course. I think I'm going to play the par 3 course a couple of times before I hit the north or the south course.
There you go. Build up your golf legs. And note for you, I believe I read this in an article over the weekend. I guess they changed the theme of the Masters, so You may like the new one. We'll see if it's true or not.
Okay. What is the theme?
I don't know. I haven't heard it, but I heard that they've adjusted or changed the theme of the entry of whatever coming in.
They've changed the music?
They've changed the music.
Oh,
correct.
thank God. Thank God. I mean, that music just irritated the hell out of me. It just, thank God they're changing that. Look, Nance doing "Hello Friends" is all right because that's his trademark. But the music was just so damn sappy and cheesy. Nails on a
that's been around
chalkboard.
since like the 70s.
Ron, it was gentleman's music for a sophisticated.
It's a sophisticated welcome to the Masters tournament, lovey.
Exactly.
Pass the Grey Poupon. No. I think
We'll
Metallica.
see what I read.
I think Metallica should be doing the Open for the Masters. Let's get this thing going here.
Exactly.
Next thing we know, Rodney Dangerfield will have the stereo in his golf bag.
There you go. You got to eat a pimento and cheese, and you got to have a sweet tea this week.
Listen, the one thing I absolutely love about the Masters, not that I've been there, but the people that I've talked with that have been there, they absolutely love the old school prices on the foods.
You can literally eat everything on the menu for about under $24-25. I mean, everything that's on there. I mean, it is very inexpensive. I mean, you're talking from a peanut butter jelly sandwich, like the very basics for like $1. Pimento and cheese is like $1.50. Tuna, egg salad, and all of that stuff, which I'm not a real big fan of. Tuna salad, egg salad, and all that. It's $2.50, $2. I mean, it's all the way to Georgia barbecue, which is phenomenal, by the way. Barbecued pulled chicken, pulled pork, best you ever have anywhere, and it's phenomenal. But I mean, everything on their menu. The peach ice cream, the Georgia peach, pecan cookies. 50 cents, $1, $1.50. I mean, literally inexpensive.
Brian,
domestic beers are like $3.
I got to tell you, when you mentioned that the barbecue was the best, my partner just about ready to throw down hands with you because he's a Kansas City guy. So
maybe he's never been to Kansas City. It's okay.
Listen, Kansas City does have some good barbecue. But I've never been to Augusta, so I can't say that is.
I'll tell you what, it's good. Mission Barbecue here locally is good, and so is Dinosaur Barbecue in Rochester, New York. I mean, phenomenal. Deviled eggs with like jalapeno in them, out of this world. But it's a different deal down there. It's awesome, and everything that they do, wrapped in green. Everything's wrapped in green, no matter if it's a Snickers bar or anything, M&M's, all wrapped in green wrappers. Because if anything flies away, it doesn't get picked up as a piece of litter flying on the camera if it's green. But, I mean, property's immaculate. I swear, you throw something in the garbage can, every garbage can I threw something into, that was the only thing that was in the garbage can, every one of them. You don't see anybody taking it out. It's like it just disappears. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. They have everything that you could think of, thought about. You go into the shop, everything has a number, shirts, shoes, anything that you want to bring home as a souvenir, hat, you name it, has a number. You go up to the counter and say, I want 7 22s, I want 4 number 5s, and 3 whatever. Here it is. Here's your total. You walk outside, FedEx, UPS, drop it off. They box it up for you. It's home before you make it home. I mean, they've thought everything out. It's like going to Disney World for golf.
That is absolutely phenomenal. Brian, always a pleasure, sir. Look forward to catching up with you next week. And as I said, if we happen to be in the money, lunch at the fantastic restaurant on site at Mill Creek.
Brian, if he wins this one, it's $100,000. He owes you more than a little bit of lunch. Like he owes you steak dinner.
I think there's a steak dinner.
Steak dinner.
Well, I mean, if I hit $100,000, obviously we will be doing a steak dinner. There's no question about that. I don't anticipate $100,000 because that's a perfect score.
Don't get cheap on me, Ron.
I'm not going to get cheap on anyone. Come on now. Good Lord. All right, always a pleasure, sir. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Have a great week, and hopefully we'll see you on the way.
You got it. Brian Tolnar from Mill Creek joining us as he does every Wednesday on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Yeah, it's I wouldn't go cheap if I actually have a perfect score here. Yeah, we're not gonna do peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We're gonna do a steak dinner. Yeah, be a pretty nice steak dinner at that. No score in Cleveland. Gee, what a freaking surprise!
I was wrong about the ESPN. It's not on, so I'm watching the live stats.
Kansas City and Cleveland, no score. Actually, Kansas City just went up 1-0.
Hey,
Salvador Perez hitting a home run.
Salvi!
The Royals on top of the Indians, 1-0 in the top half of inning number 4. So there you go. All right, we'll take a timeout, open up some phone lines, and take your phone calls. It is National Beer Day. Your go-to beer to drink. We'll talk about that and what goes good with that at a ball game. I still say nachos, no cheese, jalapenos, hot dog and a beer at a ball game. That's your music to my ears. We will talk about that and so much more. It is a Wednesday edition of Running Point. All of that coming up next. Stick around.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. We're in the top of the 4th inning in Cleveland. The Indians trailing the Royals 1-0. Shane Bieber giving up a solo home run as Mr. Salvador Perez went yard. Other than that, Bieber has struck out 6 through 3 2/3 innings, and he's given up 2 hits.
Salvador Perez, the comeback player of the year last year, also the Silver Slugger Award winner for the catcher position. So,
yeah, Benintendi and Salvador Perez with hits for the Royals. The big one, the home run off the bat of Salvador Perez. Carlos Santana 0 for 2 today with a strikeout.
Yeah, in his last at bat, he struck out in 3 pitches, which is something you don't see a lot from Carlos Santana.
And I'm looking at the entire genre of the game. Gamble led off, grounding out to the second baseman. Cesar Hernandez flied to center. Ramirez struck out swinging in the first inning. In the bottom of the second inning, Rosario hit a bullet to the center fielder, Michael Taylor. Nothing to show for it. Reyes struck out Josh Naylor with the only hit for the Indians, a sharp ground ball to center field. And then Bowers hit one on the screws. He grounded out to the shortstop. Ball hit right at Nicky Lopez at shortstop. Bottom of the third inning, Jimenez grounded into a double play after Roberto Perez walked.
A leadoff walk.
A leadoff walk. Ben Gamel called out on strikes. So 2 hard hit balls in the first 3 innings for the Indians.
Who's this Gamel kid leading off?
He's the kid that ultimately won the center field position, where he and the former Mets shortstop is going to be Rosario. They're going to be. They are going to be platooning in center field right now. I kind of feel bad for Daniel Johnson, who really wasn't given much of an opportunity to try to win the job in center field for the Indians.
Was Gamble has he been in the Indians organization?
No, he was a non-roster invitee.
Well,
and he had a great spring, so he earned the job. And obviously the Indians are hoping that either Mercado or Zimmer become the center fielder. Well, both of them were flat garbage in spring training this year. And I personally have given up on Bradley Zimmer. For the longest time when I was in minor league baseball.
For the longest time.
Okay, nice. Now you got me singing that damn song. When I was in the ball, I kept hearing scouts universally say, if a kid has not had the light bulb turned on by age 26, they're done. Now it's not a 100% your history, but a high majority of time, if the light bulb hasn't come on by the time a kid hits 26, it's not going to come on. There are some exceptions. If you go back to the 1979 World Series championship that the Pirates won, Mike Easler was one of the unsung heroes from that team. He was 28 years of age in 79, and his career was practically nothing until the Hitman went to Pittsburgh, and then he had a really good stretch of baseball with the Pirates. So he's an exception to the rule. Tyler Naquin's off to a great start this year with Cincinnati. He's 29 years of age. Now, obviously, we're only 6 or 7 games into the season. He's going to have a long way to go.
When you say Naquin, he's not someone that I would say the light hasn't gone off. He's not like he's sub 200 and he just can't hit for
no, but
he's just not doing anything spectacular.
He's
average.
He's average. At best, he's average. So the light bulb really didn't come on per se.
It means that he's amazing, because if you're average in the MLB, you're one of the best baseball players in the world, period.
Well, yeah, but the argument of the 25th guy on the bench is pretty damn good because he's in the major leagues.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great argument, and it's a true argument. But if you're 26 and the light bulb hasn't come on yet, there's a pretty good chance it's not going to come on. So Zimmer, I believe, is 28. I've pretty much given up on him. Mercado, I'm on the verge of giving up on him, but he's still a kid. Daniel Johnson is still a kid, so I'm not giving up on him either. But Zimmer, I'm getting tired of, Bradley Zimmer, he has this great talent. Well, it's time for you to show us this great talent, and he's not in the major league roster for a reason. So it's unfortunate. And I know Indians fans are losing their mind seeing Naquin hit 2 bombs and drive in 7 runs last night, but that's one game. It's, unfortunately, the Indians right now, their offense is MIA, and as we were talking,
uno, dos, adios.
1, 2, 3 in the bottom of the 4th inning, and Hernandez struck out swinging. Ramirez hit one on the screws, lines out to the center fielder Michael Taylor, and Eddie Rosario flew out to the right fielder. So 3 hard hit balls in 4 innings. nothing to show for it. It is what it is, unfortunately.
Hey, well, I will say Jacob Junis has been one of the Royals pitchers that have given the Indians problems in years past. So not exactly someone that maybe it's matchups, maybe it's just one of those things that it works out that way. But he has been one of our pitchers that has given the Indians some fits in the past.
Earlier in the show, we talked about stud pitchers that don't get much help from their offense.
Right.
Shane Bieber's falling into that category. And it's just his second start. I understand that. But he is quickly falling into that category right now.
I think a lot of the Indian starters are going to be falling into that category if the offense keeps doing what they're doing.
Yeah, it's pretty sad that the team has wasted some really good pitching early on, unfortunately. And we'll see. We'll see if the Indians are able to get this offense in gear. Right now, they're stuck in neutral.
And according to the game day where it shows you where the pitch was, this Rosario out to end the fourth was a fastball that was belt high in the middle of the plate. So he missed a pitch that probably should have been taken yards.
Yeah. And there's no excuse here because the weather forecast, and I made mention earlier in the show that when it's cold, is the Hispanic players on this team not exactly going to be comfortable to play baseball. It's 73 degrees today.
To be fair, I think around the league, Hispanic, whatever, the averages go down a little bit in the cold weather.
Well, yeah, everyone.
Because the ball doesn't travel.
Yeah, everyone. And in particular, the Hispanic players are not geared to play cold weather baseball because they were raised in a warm climate in Latin America. Today, 73 degrees and sunshine, should be hitting the ball. Unfortunately, one hit. And if I could do
Fortunately for me.
Yeah, if I did Harry Doyle, we would probably have to go to the principal's office if I if I did my Harry Doyle impersonation.
Don't do that.
One hit is all we got. You can't say that. No one's listening anyway. Lord. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. The Indians game in the top of the fifth inning. We will keep you updated. When Anthony does a little dancing moves, then you know that Kansas City has something going. Nothing going right for the Pirates. They're getting shellacked in Cincinnati today, 8-0.
Weren't they shellacked last night too?
They were. Cincinnati jumped on Pittsburgh starter in the bottom of the first inning. The Bucks gave up 5 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Chad Kuhl survived it, wound up pitching 4 innings, 5 runs allowed, 2 hits, 5 walks. Ugh. Yeah, not good. And for the Naquin lovers, he's hit another home run. His 4th home run, led off the ball game with a home run.
Something to be said. Sometimes guys just need to change the scenery to kind of unlock a little bit of more potential. They just need that change.
Well, the last time a player had a change of scenery from Cleveland to Cincinnati turned out pretty well in Brandon Phillips.
I thought you were going to go with Bauer.
Well, yeah, him too. But the everyday player,
right?
The last one of substance was Brandon Phillips, who had a really nice career in Cincinnati. He couldn't do anything in Cleveland. He was in the doghouse with Eric Wedge, and then they finally traded him to Cincinnati, and he turns into this all-world player. Tyler Naquin right now with an average of .353 hit his 4th home run earlier today. He now has 4 bombs, 13 runs batted in, and the Reds are just smoking Pittsburgh 8-0 after 5 innings in Cincinnati. Pirates have 3 hits, and they're not too good. They're off to a 1-4 start, and it's going to be a long year in Pittsburgh.
They had an exciting opening day, and then we'll give them that.
Oh, they did. And unfortunately, Brian Hayes hurt himself on opening day. where he's on the IL right now. So
that's such a. I mean, I'm starting when it rains, it pours. And,
Yeah.
and your team's struggling, then one of your better players goes and gets hurt.
yeah, that's just a tough start. Really, really tough start for the Bucks. Tough start for the Nationals. They got half of their team on the injured list because half of the team has COVID, or close to half of the team. Steven Strasburg will pitch for the Nationals. Josh Bell is on the IL. Brad Hand, former Indians closer, he's on the IL. About 5 other kids are on the IL for Washington. They finally got their first game under their belt yesterday, knocking off the Braves. And you talk about a team that's off to a slow start. Atlanta's 0-4.
Oof.
They're off to a horrible start.
But like you said, we've said it before. April matters, but you can't judge a team by what they do in April. So
Yeah, you can't win the division in April, but you certainly can lose your division in April. And, hopefully the Indians don't put themselves in a really, really deep hole in April.
Wait a minute. You could win your division in April. I mean, if you go like 10-0 and the rest of your division has a terrible April, all of a sudden you're 10 games up after the month of April.
Yeah, but you still got to play all kinds of games. It's one thing to try to hang on to a 4 or 5 game lead. It's another thing if you've buried yourself 12 games back at the end of April and you're trying to fight your way out of the basement and into winning the division. I mean, you can't get off to a horribly bad start, and hopefully that's not going to be the case for the Pirates or the Indians, but right now at least it's not looking good for either franchise, especially the Pirates. They're 1-4 and soon to be 1-5 unless they get their act together here. Top of the 6th inning, the Reds are just bombing Pittsburgh 8-0. Top of the 5th inning, 2 outs and a run around for Kansas City.
Not
They're
with
up
live
1-0.
turkeys, right? Are they bobbing them with live turkeys?
No, not with live turkeys. Not with the live turkeys. That's
it's probably like the highlight of Running Point so far in the first year and a half that we've been on the air is watching that video right before we went on air, and then not being able to compose myself for the first
Well,
half.
I was just in awe that you had never watched that iconic episode. So we had to get you to watch that episode, and now Anthony
the show
can't
is
talk.
ruined. The show is ruined. I couldn't compose myself for a good hour after seeing it because it kept popping right into my head every time.
Yeah.
We would try to talk about it. Oh,
And Johnny Fever's the best when he's just deadpan face. Thanks for that on the spot report, Les.
You there, Les?
Les is gone.
Les isn't there. Les isn't there.
Thanks for that on the spot report, Les. For those who are just tuning in, the Tyndale Chopping Wall has just been bombed with live turkeys. Film at 11. 330-886-0813. The
turkeys could.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. We'll take a time out, be back with more. Stick around.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you, alongside Anthony Hartwig. Indians and Royals playing some matinee baseball up in Cleveland, where right now it is Kansas City on top of Cleveland, 1-0 in the bottom half of inning number 5. The Indians got one hit. That's it. That's all they have. The Royals only have 2 hits in the game. This just been
it's a pitcher's duel.
Yeah, it's been a great pitcher's duel to this point.
Might come down to the bullpens.
Yep. 2 outs in the inning. Fred Mcilroy struck out swinging. Josh Naylor grounding out to Carlos Santana. 2 outs in the top half of inning, or I should say in the bottom half of inning number 5. So there you go. Bob Beam letting us know that Guy Costello will be recommended at the April board meeting for the head boys basketball position at Leetonia High School. We made mention the last 5 seasons he had been the varsity assistant for the girls program at Salem. He was 8 years at Jackson Milton, 1 as the head coach, 12 years at Leetonia, including 4 as their head coach. He is employed as a teacher in the Leetonia School District, so that pretty much gives him a leg up to because he's qualified, it certainly gives him a leg up in that scenario. Costello has also coached at Struthers and Heartland Christian, and pending board approval, he's your new basketball coach at Leetonia. And he does have some talent coming in.
And he's taking over a program that is on the rise, definitely more competitive than they have been in years past. And because he's employed at the school, he's been a coach at the school, he obviously is going to care about that program and make sure it goes in the right direction. I love hires from either people that work for the school or are alums of the school or have been a part of the program for a long time, because the intangible care of the program and of the school takes them a little bit further.
Yeah. And I will be curious to see what the turnout is for kids going out for basketball, because the last couple of years the turnout was not there. And that was disappointing, because Leetonia had a really good basketball coach who knew what the heck he was doing in Dan Dennis. Unfortunately, the kids were not buying into the program, even though they went 8 wins last year. Dan got about as much as he possibly could out of that program, considering how few amount of kids were out for basketball. That's the one thing that, for me, as a graduate of Leetonia High School and as someone who has never seen a district championship at Leetonia at all for boys basketball, the lack of commitment is frightening at Leetonia High School for basketball. It's absolutely frightening.
The boys you coached in 7th grade last
will
year
be freshmen.
are now going to be freshmen.
Yeah, they will be freshmen, and it would
so that's
not.
That's going to excite you.
It would not surprise me to see minimum 2 of those kids playing varsity ball next year. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And again, hopefully, some of the kids that did not go out for basketball last year and in previous years will go out for basketball with Costello as the new head coach. And honestly, I don't know the relationship that Guy Costello has with kids. Now, as a teacher,
does he teach in the high school, or is he in the school system?
He is in the high school. Now, it's a K through 12 building,
right.
So he's in the same building as everyone. But he is a junior high and high school teacher. So one would imagine that he should be able to get some of these kids that did not play basketball the last couple of years, get some of those kids out, and hopefully get some kids that are willing to buy in and commit to the program, because that has been a problem at Leetonia for the last 20 years with the basketball program, that very few people have committed. They've talked a great game, but they have not committed to playing basketball and being part of a successful program at Leetonia. That has been a sore spot, and frankly, it's been an embarrassment at Leetonia. And in the last couple of years, as you mentioned, things have gotten a little bit better. Hopefully, more kids go out for basketball. We will see a much better, starting now, we will see a much better product at Leetonia. But the fact that this school has never won a district championship, with all of the God-given talent and athleticism that Leetonia High School has had, especially when I was in school, the fact that we had never won a district championship, never come close to a district championship, is embarrassing for me as an alumnus. It is. And I know I'm sounding hard on Leetonia, but that's the school that I will. If you cut me open, I bleed navy blue. I am a Leetonia Bear. I am damn proud to be a graduate of Leetonia High School. I just hope that Coach Costello will get a sense of kids that are ready to buy into and play the game of basketball, because I haven't seen it in a few years. We're starting to see it with Coach Dennis. Hopefully, we'll get more of it.
Well, now he can definitely do some inter-scholar recruiting in the hallways.
There you go. Absolutely.
Hey, you're tall. Come here.
Yeah, and hopefully he does that. Hopefully, because there are some kids roaming the halls at Leetonia High School that are 6'3" 6'2" and 6'3", and a couple kids that might be a little bit taller. Yeah, get them out for basketball. And Anthony, you know this as well as I do. It's not even the high school. You got to open up and to have a program. You got to reach the kids that are in kindergarten and teach these kids the finer points of playing basketball and make it fun for those kids so they can fall in love with the sport. And by the time they're in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, ready to play youth basketball, they're ready to play ball. And by the time they get into junior high, they'll know enough of the fundamentals where you can have a program starting, a really, really good program starting.
It'll be interesting to see, how the EOAC kind of shakes out this upcoming year.
Oh my God, it's the potential to being a crazy good basketball conference. Wellsville with Bug Thompson, that program's in great hands. The Lisbon program is in great hands.
Remember, Lisbon lost some pretty important seniors.
They did, but they have
some sophomores that have some talent.
Yeah, they're going to have some sophomores, and we didn't see the Sifke kid because he had a knee injury, and I think that he'll be okay. And there's some kids from the 7th grade team coming up that are going to be pretty solid as well. Columbiana and Palestine might struggle a little bit. United is one of those teams that they have all kinds of athletes, and United and Southern had some really good kids that are going to be freshmen next year. The league itself is set up to be a really good league. I don't know if it's going to be as good as the MVAC, but it could be pretty good.
You always look at Valley Christian too.
Oh God, yeah. That's Valley's got such a great thing going on over there, and I'll say it again. If there was an open, if the EOAC wanted to expand to 2 more teams, Heartland Christian, just for their basketball program, makes way too much sense for them to be a part of the EOAC for basketball.
You remember when Valley Christian came this close to upsetting McDonald?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was a 3 at the buzzer that let McDonald win that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Valley Christian's
Valley's a very good basketball team. And Lord knows they're being led by a really, really good coach. So, the future is very bright for the EOAC, and I hope, being an alumnus of Leetonia, I hope that Coach Costello gets this team pointed in the right direction to where 12 wins will now be a disappointment instead of a celebration.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's the case.
Winning culture, it's what it's all about.
Absolutely it is. And the winning cultures that we have in the area of schools that we have in RYSN. South Range has a winning culture in practically every sport.
Even though they are a boys basketball team that is still without a district championship in their program.
Yeah, but year in and year out, they're a team that if now John Cullen is probably calling
retire.
It quits.
Yeah,
so I'll be really curious. Now, let me ask you, because Jeff Fischel was a really good basketball player at South Range High School. Would he make the switch from girls to boys basketball?
Not with what he has going in the girls program right now. I don't think he makes that switch.
I tend to agree with you, by the way. I tend to agree with you. But if the job were available to him, that's an interesting temptation right there.
They've had really good coaches in their program. I mean, you go back into the 90s and who Coach Fischel was coached by and Coach McHugh.
Yeah.
Great basketball coach in the area. He still helps out with the program. It'll be interesting to see who kind of steps into that role.
Absolutely. And
because their JV and varsity assistant is also the head coach of the volleyball team in his first year this year in TJ Irons. So I don't know if he would pack things in on the volleyball after 1 year and decide to go to the boys basketball program, but he might. You never know. It'll be interesting to see who kind of steps into that spot.
And speaking of coaches that are retiring, Ken Grisdale is retired over at Poland. Who do we go to?
I bet his assistants are lined up. He's been grooming, I think, Fender.
Mm-hmm.
I think Fender might snatch that. I think his assistant staff has been with him for a while, and I think he's been kind of. I think he knows he put that program in a spot where when he steps away that they would be okay with who to hire.
The other job that's open right now that surprises me a great deal is Springfield. That surprises me. And the reason for the exit
I wonder if the young Matisse might step into that role because his brother is the head coach at Southeast. Obviously, his father is the coach at McDonald for the girls. He's an assistant on that boys team. I don't know if he has the shot. I don't know if maybe he'll step in and be the third head coach in that family.
And this just in, there is a crud load of talent in Springfield.
Oh yeah.
They
graduate a lot, but they're bringing up a lot.
Goodness!
Don't sleep on the Tigers.
Yeah, they're going to be a fun program, and again, it's all about a program, and that to me is it'll be exciting. It'll be exciting to see what transpires, and we wish Coach Costello the best at my alma mater, and I'm always available if he needs any assistance.
And we do want to we broke this on last week, but Jeff Wilson, the former head coach of the boys basketball team at Crestview, is hired as the head coach for the Fitch girls. So they have a new coach.
Yes.
In Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, and don't sleep on the Fitch girls. They have some talents, and I know their kids were young, but there's some talent with that team. And speaking of young, I know I did a few of their games. Lisa Rotuno Medelsky's club in Lowville is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Lowville did not have any seniors on the team this year. They're all coming back. And they have some players that I thought were pretty, they had the pieces there. They had a lot of growing to do. But they had the pieces there to be formidable players. So I think Lowville might be a sleeper in girls basketball in that MVAC.
Well, now the MVAC with McDonald losing,
it gets a little bit more dicey.
Yeah, losing a lot of their talents. Not to say that they've lost all of their talent.
Last season, we pretty much knew it came down to Western Reserve and McDonald. That was kind of the foregone conclusion about who was going to win that conference. Now, Western Reserve still has pieces in there. McDonald still has some pieces in there. I think Tony Matisse will probably stay, and Coach Kohler will stay. So they'll still be led by really good coaches. But then you look at it, they're not going to be as dominant. They're not going to be like Fort Runner, Green Light. We know they're going to win. Springfield has Casey Mullen going into her junior season.
Yeah.
She's hard to deal with. Lowville, as we said, has everybody returning. Waterloo, a very young team, only graduated one senior. So they're coming back. That'll be a really fun conference. That's a Scarlet tier, right?
Yes, okay. That will be the Scarlet tier, and then the Gray tier. Garrettsville Garfield comes into the league, and that's just going to make that league so much fun to watch, and not just in girls hoops. Garrettsville Garfield coming into that league for football is going to make that league ridiculously fun to watch because Garrettsville Garfield
not fun for the rest of the teams.
Garrettsville Garfield was bringing damn near everyone back.
The rest of the teams are going to be like, really?
Yeah. Garrettsville Garfield was bringing damn near everyone back from their playoff team last year. Let's get to the phone lines. Rich, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on, brother?
Good afternoon, young men.
How goes it?
Let me get some volume on your phone here.
What's that?
You there, Rich?
I guess I just picked up a new phone. It's like pulling my hair out.
What's on your mind, brother?
Nothing. I hope you guys had a great Easter.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we pretty much had a good feast going on here.
There you go.
Yeah, having been able to get through to you guys, that means that you're doing well.
There you go. What's on your mind?
Not much. Haven't had a chance to really follow any baseball yet. I haven't listened to a Tom Hamilton game call yet. How's the Tribe doing anyway?
They're down 1-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning to Kansas City. The bats have been very slow to warm up, and they've wasted some pretty good pitching performances early on. But it's early, and the weather was pretty crappy for all but one of those games. And in the one game the weather wasn't crappy, the Indians scored 9 runs. So we'll see what this offense can do.
Well, the weather wasn't crappy on Monday when they got shut out.
It was cold.
Aw.
It was in the low 40s.
Really, on Monday?
Oh.
Yeah, it was. It was.
I was out doing softball on Monday.
Well,
I guess up in Cleveland.
Up
it gets
in
a lot
Cleveland,
colder.
the weather was frightful up in Cleveland, unfortunately.
Yeah, they get that wind off the lake there, but at least it wasn't snowing. At least it wasn't snowing with a blizzard, so we'll give them that much.
Well, yeah, I mean Detroit, when Cabrera hit a home run into the right field seats, nobody saw the ball go into the seats because it was snowing so damn much.
Thanks for sending me that lineup. I kind of like the pitching, but you know what? I don't know if it's enough because Chicago and Minnesota have really gone into overdrive this year. I think we're going to be a distant second or third in that mix.
Well, look, I mean, I think that
Kansas City.
It's all contingent on the offense. If the Indians can get some pretty decent offense, I think the Indians are going to be in pretty decent shape. Now, right now, the Indians have not played very well offensively. 4 games, they've scored 2 runs or less in 3 of the 4 games. The one game that they exploded, the final 3 innings in Detroit on Sunday, they popped out 9 runs in the final 3 innings and were able to put up a 9 spot against Detroit in the final game of their series. So, if the Indians can get consistency in their offense, I think the Tribe will be in really good shape. But I don't know if this team is going to be able to hit with any consistency.
Is our third baseman healthy so far?
Yes, he is.
Well, that's going to be the key to the rhyme in my head, anyway.
Well, he's got to get going, but he also has to have some protection. And Friend Reyes is the guy that's hitting behind him. Friend has to get it going, and right now he's struggling. He's 0 for 2 today, a couple of strikeouts. His average, and again, it's early on. The average is under 200. He's got to start hitting the ball a little bit better.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed, buddy. All right, hey, thanks for the vine. It's good hearing you guys, and have a great day.
All right, see you, Rich.
Watching these live stats are brutal because it comes up and it says pitch and play, but it takes about a minute to tell you what happened. So there's a pitch and play.
Yeah, he wound up grounding into a force out. Gamble did. Jimenez wound up singling to right field to lead off the bottom of the 6th inning. Gamble grounded into a force. He beat the relay throw to first base.
So he beat out the double play. But.
Yeah. So you got a runner at first base, 1 out, and Cesar Hernandez is batting, and he's hitting $125 right now. So
give me a Cesar salad.
Yeah, well, the offense is a bunch of salad right now. There's no beef in the offense. It's not
it's a bunch of dressing is all it is.
Yeah, it's a bunch of dressing and a little bit of salad, and that's about it, unfortunately.
I don't want this running point to expire without pointing out that Madison Lester for Boardman threw a no-hitter last night against Firestone. They won 22-0. But Madison Lester, one of the good pitchers in the area, he threw a no-no. So we have a couple of no-hitters already in the season. We have perfect games already in the season. Softball pitching in the area is legit.
Yeah, no doubts. No doubt. Clippers beat Heartland in 5 innings yesterday at Firestone. Eusebio wound up getting the victory for Columbiana. Just 1 hit allowed in the 5 innings. Their only loss of the season was to Boardman, right. And that's not really that.
And it was a close loss too, if I remember right.
That's not exactly a horrible loss on anyone's resume to lose to a Division I school.
When I think Columbiana baseball is 3.
D3, yeah.
So they're going up 2 divisions.
Yep.
Playing D1 Boardman.
Yeah, that's not too shabby, and they're going to be one of the teams to beat in the EOAC. They will be.
Yep.
It's a solid program, year in and year out over in Columbia.
Mineral Ridge softball with a 3-run home run in extra innings to beat Springfield 10-7.
Yeah, they're now 3-1 in the campaign.
So they split with Springfield, and those two teams might end up at the top of the MVAC.
You know, the baseball teams had at it, and I was surprised that Mineral Ridge won a couple of days ago over Springfield. Yesterday, Springfield got a little bit of revenge as they knocked off Mineral Ridge 10-8, scoring 2 times in the bottom of the 6th to break an 8-8 tie. Mineral Ridge is going to be a fun team to watch this year in baseball and softball.
Yeah, I think their softball team is always under the radar, but they're always really good. Coach Keckelhoff down there has a good bunch that always kind of seems like they're an afterthought, but always seems to be competitive. And they used to be, you go back 5 or 6 years, they had the Garland sisters that came through that program, and they each went to play in college. So the program has a lot of power, has a lot of talent, and I expect, near the top of the MVAC again for them this year.
Hey, before we scat out of here, we really haven't talked much about track and field. Vindicator had a really nice story today.
Well, how about
on
Krista
the
Perry?
Crestview track program? The boys were Division III state runner-up in 2019, and they were 6 points from winning or sharing the D3 state championship. 6 points behind East Canton. The Rebels looking for a state championship in 2021 for the boys. And for the girls, Krista Perry, whose older brother Dominic did quite well for himself with Crestview.
You think?
Winning multiple state titles in the shot put and discus. Krista Perry's not too shabby in her own right throwing the shot and discus.
No, she broke the school record last night, I believe, with her shot put.
Yeah, she not a bad basketball player, not a bad track star. Pretty good athletes with the Crestview Rebels. And again, she threw the shot put 38 feet on the button and threw the discus last night on 111 feet and 11 inches. That's not too shabby. 38 feet is not too shabby in girls track.
No, not with the shot put. I mean, she's always been a strong player, not just a good basketball player, but a strong, like physically imposing and strong. And when you watch her play basketball, you can say to yourself, it's probably a girl that throws a good shot put. So obviously she broke the school record with that 38-foot throw, and no snub in any sport that she plays.
Indians are on the board. Jose Ramirez goes yard, 2-run dinger, and the Indians have a 2-1 lead on the Kansas City Royals.
You were about a minute ahead of me. I might have just updated.
So Ramirez goes yard, the third hit of the ball game for the Indians.
Because the Royals couldn't turn a dang double play. We had 2 groundouts with runners on first. Come on.
Ramirez's first home run of the season. RBIs 1 and 2. So off we go. Cleveland off to a 2-1 lead in the bottom half of inning number 6. Mr. Rosario, who has early on, and I'm not worried about anything right now, as I've so famously said, I don't worry about statistics until somewhere in May. But Rosario early on has been a no-show for the Indians this year. And hopefully Mr. Rosario will be a little bit better.
He hit the ball hard in his last at-bat.
Yes, he did.
Right to the center fielder.
Yeah, he did. So we'll see what happens. But Ramirez goes yard, 2-run dinger. Bottom of the 6th inning, Indians have a 2-1 lead on the Royals. We'll take a as Anthony is a little
we need a comfort timeout. Timeout.
Yeah, we got to call a timeout because Anthony's a little hot under the collar right now. We'll be back in a bit to wrap this puppy up. Stick around.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes!
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Indians with a 2-1 lead on Kansas City.
Quit bringing it up.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying, just updating everyone.
Whatever. You just updated them before the commercial.
I'm just updating them, everyone. It's now after 6 innings. You got out of the trouble. Cincinnati with a 9-0 lead on the Pirates going into the bottom of the 8th inning.
Let's update people on the games that are going to be on the network.
Please do.
Today and tonight. Starting with softball, just 4 games in the YSN family being played tonight. So a short softball night, but I'll be in YSU softball field for Ursuline hosting Lisbon. Should be a fun one there. A lot of more baseball games being played today, as Canfield hosting Howland at 1 o'clock, so that one's already underway. Probably maybe over almost 2 hours into the game. DJ is heading down to Mohawk again as they host Hopewell at 4:15. That'll be on YSN. Fitch is hosting Notre Dame Cathedral Latin at 4:30. Ty Bartell has the call there. Salem is hosting Alliance at 5. CJ has that call. Alec is heading to West Branch to call the Warriors hosting St. Thomas Aquinas. Newton Falls is going to be hosting Firestone at Canfield, so they're playing in that little 4-team tournament that's been going on at Canfield. So Alec and Matt are pulling a doubleheader there at Canfield. East Liverpool is hosting Harrison Central. Tommy Pease has that call. Heartland is hosting Crestview. Mark Franken with the call there, your buddy Mark.
Heartland's hosting Crestview in softball or baseball?
These are all baseball games.
Okay.
LeBray is hosting Rootstown in a doubleheader. We'll have game 1. No, it says Scene. I'm sorry. I thought that said game. So that'll be at Scene. Jake has that. And then Poland is going to be playing Ursuline at Scene. We'll have that too. Video only for Louisville versus St. Ignatius, but we will have the video for that one. So that runs down the games on our network. 1 softball game and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 baseball games on the network tonight.
There you go. So lots of stuff to absorb and lots of stuff to listen to as we get through a Wednesday of baseball and softball on the network.
All for free, thanks to the people on your shirt.
There you go. The good folks at WRS Wealth Advisors making a nice little cha-ching, allowing you folks to watch these games for free, which is a good thing.
It's for free, man.
Yeah, it's
better.
Yeah, it's always good to have stuff for free.
Yep.
No, that's the way it is. I know what I wanted to ask you before we get out of here. How surprised were you at the game on Monday night, the national championship game, where Baylor just absolutely abused Gonzaga?
Was I mean, not extra. I mean, I was surprised that it was a blowout, but then again, when I was watching it, Gonzaga looked gassed, and I remember they played overtime in the Final Four, and they had a big, emotionally high win. And sometimes after games like that, teams don't show up in the next game. And it was also, they were a little bit fatigued, Baylor is one of the worst teams to play because Baylor is so physical and so athletic. And Baylor punched them in the mouth early, and Gonzaga could not respond from it.
Yeah, Baylor impressed the heck out of me the entire tournament, especially in the Final Four. They laid waste to a really good Houston team and then just destroyed Gonzaga, jumped on them early and wouldn't let them breathe. It was quite an accomplishment by Baylor. And Scott Drew, whose father, Homer Drew, was a longtime coach for Valparaiso. Just a great, great family. Couldn't happen to a better person.
Yeah, and one of the things about Gonzaga, the closest Gonzaga got was that little run they made before halftime to cut it to 10.
Yeah.
And then the Baylor just came out of the halftime and continued to dominate. It was a really impressive performance by Baylor.
Yeah, it was a solid win for Baylor. Congrats to the national champions. And it was my bracket died a very quick death after a while, so I'm just
quick
glad.
Quick and humane.
I'm just glad that the embarrassment of my bracket is now final.
And Jeff Bezos won our bracket challenge.
Wow, attaboy, Jeff. Yeah. There you go.
We're never going to hear the end of that.
Probably not. That will do it. Power Hour. Do we have Power Hour today?
We do. DJ won't be on it because he's on his way to Mohawk, but we will have the boys holding down Power Hour for the day.
All right, so the inmates are running the asylum that is Power Hour, and that is coming up momentarily. Did want to remind everyone, Cincinnati now with a 11-0 lead on the Pirates, and Cleveland on top of Kansas City 2-1 in the top half of inning number 7. That'll do it for the show. We'll be back tomorrow, or at least I'll be back. No, we will. We will be back tomorrow. Thursday. And Anthony will.
I was about to say, you give me a day off?
No.
Cool.
Anthony will watch me burn a very slow burn as we look at the Masters pairings, and my $100,000 dream goes into hell. But that'll be tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, everyone. We'll talk tomorrow, noon to 3.